Have you ever noticed, some people pull everyone's attention without even trying? They walk into a room, and people start noticing them. Their words stay with you. Their presence is felt, and even after they're gone, their effect lingers. What exactly do they have? Is it just looks? Confidence? Charm? Or is there a deeper game of human psychology behind it? The Art of Seduction. A fascinating journey into understanding that exact game. In this audiobook, we'll explore the principles of attraction, influence, desire, emotions, and human behavior that have been drawing people toward each other for centuries. You'll learn how people think, what they feel, and the real reasons they get pulled toward someone. This isn't just a journey of understanding others. It's also a journey of understanding yourself better. So put on your headphones. Listen carefully. And get ready to uncover the secrets of human nature that are often right in front of our eyes, but we never see. Welcome to the Art of Seduction. Part 1. The Seductive Character. Chapter 1. The Siren. Human beings like to believe they're logical. But they're not. We all live inside a massive illusion. The illusion is that every decision we make is under our control. The truth is, when someone awakens our deepest buried desires, the entire mind surrenders. What's the biggest pressure in this world? The pressure of always staying responsible. Of making the right decisions every single day. Of living bound by the rules society has created. Every human being is tired of this exhausting self-control from the inside. They want a world where they can be free from their responsibilities. Where feeling works instead of the mind. And this is the exact weakness that history's most dangerous and magnetic character exploits. The Siren. The Siren isn't just an ordinary beautiful woman or man. It's an energy that strikes directly at the subconscious mind. In its presence, there's a strange tension. A pull that cannot be ignored, no matter how hard you try. The Siren's first and strongest weapon is the voice and the body language. It never shouts or becomes aggressive to get attention. There's a stillness in the voice. A slow, whispering rhythm that slips straight into the ears of the listener. Have you ever seen someone who stays extremely quiet, yet pulls the attention of the entire room? Someone whose eyes say everything without saying a word. That's the true form of the Siren. The human brain constantly scans for threats and benefits. When we meet someone who's highly attractive, yet completely calm and indifferent, the mind falls into confusion. We want to solve that mystery. The Siren's physical appearance isn't only about facial beauty. It's about creating an illusion. An illusion that activates our imagination. It shapes itself into a form that can fulfill the unfinished desires of the other person. To understand this spell, we need to look at a major example from today's pop culture and internet world. A global female singer who's never revealed her personal life in front of the media. She gives very few interviews. Her presence on social media is almost nothing. When she comes on stage, her movements are very slow. Her voice carries a deep but hypnotic pull. People want to know everything about her. They're ready to spend lakhs of rupees just for one glimpse. What is this? This is a modern form of the Siren. She's turned herself into a mystery. A suspense that people get more and more tangled in the more they try to solve it. When you limit your availability and add a magical depth to your image, people start filling the empty spaces with their own imaginations. They begin to see you as what they want to see, not as what you actually are. Human beings always run after the thing that runs away from them. The Siren understands this truth very well. She never chases anyone. She only lays the trap and stands there. Her trap is her mysterious distance. One moment she feels very close, and the next moment she goes so far that touching her starts feeling impossible. This uncertainty creates a dopamine loop in the other person's mind. Dopamine is the neurochemical that makes us long for something we don't have. When the prey can't understand whether it's already won the Siren or lost her, its entire attention locks onto her alone. It stops working. It can't sleep. Its nights disappear. It becomes forced to think only about that one person. This strategy is used on a large scale in the world of business and marketing. Look at the most expensive and luxury brands. They never force you to buy their product. They don't list the features of their product in advertisements. They only show an incomplete and magical lifestyle. They create an atmosphere that feels incomplete. They make you feel that there's a big lack in your life, and only their brand can fill that lack. They keep their availability limited. They deliberately make their things so expensive that an ordinary person can't even touch them. These brands are nothing but the sirens of the business world. They create a deep desire and restlessness inside you, and then take advantage of that restlessness. But behind this hypnotic power, a very big danger is also hidden. The strength of the siren rests on her mystery and the illusion she creates. The moment that illusion breaks, the entire power disappears into thin air. If the siren starts talking too much, starts sharing her everyday problems, or openly places her weaknesses in front, her magical effect ends. People start seeing her as an ordinary human being. And human beings never stay attached to ordinary things. They're only crazy about the extraordinary. The second big danger is jealousy and hatred. When you completely bring someone under your control, in the beginning they experience happiness. But with time, when they realize they've lost complete control, anger is born inside them. They start feeling that they're being used. If this hypnotism stretches too long and there's no real depth in it, the prey can suddenly become aggressive. It can go to any length to break that bond. How do you fight this hypnotism? How can you keep yourself safe against such power? There's only one way. Learn to separate your emotions from your logic. Whenever you feel a strange restlessness, an excessive pull, or blind attraction in someone's presence, stop immediately. Ask yourself, is this attraction because of the real qualities of that person, or is it only because of the atmosphere and mystery they've created around themselves? When you start seeing someone as an ordinary human being by separating them from their magical image, their entire magic breaks. The softness of their voice starts looking artificial. Their mystery starts looking like only cleverness. The art of the siren teaches us that attraction never works through the direct path. Praising yourself openly or chasing someone only shows your weakness. If you want to create impact, you have to be indirect instead of striking directly. You have to put people's imaginations to work. You have to force them to think about you. As long as they keep thinking about you, you keep ruling their mind. But remember, this is a dangerous game. In this game the boundaries are very blurry. If you yourself become a prisoner of the image you created, you'll be the first one to suffocate in this trap. In the next chapter, we'll understand another dangerous and completely different character. A character who isn't quiet and mysterious like the siren, but wins people's hearts through boldness and dangerous behavior. Every attempt to stop him proves useless. Going near that character means handing yourself over to the fire. Yet people still get pulled toward him. Are you ready to know that next secret? Your journey has only just begun, and the most important lessons are still coming. Chapter 2. The Rake. If the siren is like a cold lake that attracts you with her depth, the rake is that uncontrolled fire that has the power to burn you to ashes. Society has created many rules around us. Be a good person. Be responsible. Take every decision after thinking carefully. But there's also a part of our mind that wants to break all these restrictions. We all get tired of our boring and overly safe life at some point. We need thrill. We need danger. And this human weakness has another name. The Rake. The Rake is a character who casually kicks the boundaries created by society. He's completely unpredictable. You'll never know what his next step will be. People look at him and say this person is dangerous. Being with him will only bring destruction. Yet people still get pulled. Why? Because he gives something that's almost impossible to find in today's world. Extreme attention. When a rake chooses someone, he pours his entire energy onto that one person. He'll present himself in front of you as if no one else in this entire world has any existence except you. He'll remember every small thing about you. He'll be ready to take the biggest risk for you. This experience is so intoxicating that the other person loses their sense of reality. They feel that finally someone wants them with such intensity. But the rake's attention is never permanent. He's like a hunter who only enjoys the chase, not the keeping. The moment he gets you, his interest starts ending. He suddenly becomes cold. And this is his most dangerous trap. If you want to use this dangerous rake power yourself, you need to understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, show no rules. You have to bring a rebellious edge into your personality. Don't hold back from breaking the small rules of society. When you show people that you don't live under anyone's pressure, people become crazy about this fearlessness of yours. Your indifference becomes your biggest unique selling point. Second rule, hyperfocus and adoration. When you're with your target, forget everything else in the world. Make them feel that they're the most important part of the universe at that moment. The depth in your praise should be so much that they feel only you and the entire world understand them. Third rule, the sudden withdrawal. When the other person becomes used to this attention of yours, suddenly create distance. Without any big fight, pull yourself back a little. This distance will create a deep fear in their mind that they've lost you. They'll start longing to get that initial magic back, and will start running after you. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a major example from today's internet and pop culture. You've seen many bad boy influencers or rock stars on social media whose image is very bad. They remain stuck in some controversy every day. They keep changing their partners. The media defames them. Yet their number of fans keeps increasing. Especially their partners, even knowing that this person can cheat them, remain desperate to get attached to them. Why? Because every human being feels from the inside that they're special. Every partner has the illusion that I will reform this broken person. This illusion is the rake's biggest weapon. He doesn't hide his flaws. He shows them with pride. He presents himself like a broken toy that only needs your love. This psychology of the rake also plays a very big role in the world of business and startups. There are many startup founders who are very aggressive. They show big dreams. They challenge the limits of the law, and make their employees work day and night. Their behavior is very unpredictable and indifferent. Yet big investors remain ready to put crores of rupees on them. People leave their safe corporate jobs and become ready to work like mad for them. Why? Because they sell a vision that's much bigger than normal life. They offer an adventure in which there's danger, but if success comes, it will create history. People become crazy about the thrill of that danger. But there are also very big dangers connected with this rake lifestyle. The first danger is that this energy finishes very quickly. You can't always play with fire. With time, this indifference of yours starts looking like weakness or irresponsibility to people. People stop seeing you as a mature human being. The second danger is revenge. When you play with people's emotions and leave them in the middle of the path, a very big hatred is born inside them. A hurt and betrayed person is more dangerous than any enemy. They can go to any length to completely destroy your image. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of dangerous influence? If someone enters your life who tries to come very close to you very quickly, who shows themselves as very rebellious and different, immediately put a brake on your emotions. Don't listen to their beautiful words. Look at their past. The rake has a pattern. He always repeats history. If he's left everyone in his past, he'll leave you too. Accept this truth that you can't change him. When you remove this illusion from your mind that you're special and you can reform him, his entire hypnotism breaks in one stroke. The story of the rake teaches us that human beings don't only want safety. Sometimes they want to put themselves in danger so they can feel alive. If you add a little danger and a little thrill to your work, your brand, or your personality, people will get pulled toward you. But remember, playing with fire needs a very big heart. If your hands shake, you'll also burn. Until now we've seen two characters. One who strikes while staying in the shadow of mystery, and the other who burns openly like fire. But is there also someone who joins your broken dreams and makes you his slave? A character who fills the emptiness inside you so beautifully that you happily dedicate your freedom in his name. In the next chapter, we'll unmask the biggest magician of human fantasy. A face that becomes exactly what you're searching for. Are you ready to face your deepest desire? That secret is about to come in front of you soon. Chapter 3. The Ideal Lover. We all live with a very big lie. We show the world that we're very happy with our life. Very satisfied. But the truth is that an empty corner inside us always remains incomplete. In childhood we had some dreams. Deep dreams about our life, about our partner, about our identity. But as we grew up, reality crushed those dreams without mercy. We have to live a life of compromises. We're surrounded by people who only judge us, who want to change us, or who completely ignore us. In the middle of this bitter reality, when someone enters our life who makes that buried dream of ours come true, we willingly become their slave. This magical character is called the ideal lover. The ideal lover isn't a person who shows their own qualities. He's like a mirror. He looks inside you and finds out what the biggest lack in your life is. He reads your unspoken desires from your eyes. If you feel loneliness from the inside and want someone to understand you, he becomes the most caring and sensitive person in the world. If you're tired of your boring life and want thrill, he becomes the path of adventure for you. He completely shapes himself according to your fantasy. He gives you the vibe that you've always wanted to feel. He gives you the vibe you've always wanted to feel. If you want to awaken this power of the ideal lover inside yourself, you need to understand its 3 practical rules. First rule, deep observation. When you meet someone, stop praising yourself. Instead, listen carefully to the other person. See where the pain is in their words. Where their unfinished dreams are hidden. Which part of their life is troubling them the most? Do they need attention? Do they need respect? Or do they need someone who supports their crazy ideas? When you find this lack of theirs, you get your role. Second rule, reflect the fantasy. Once you know the lack of the other person, make yourself the hero of their fantasy. If they need an adventurous partner, add thrilling stories in your conversation. If they're searching for a calm and understanding person, showcase your maturity in front of them. You have to become the one whose eyes have grown tired of searching for. Third rule, elevate their self-esteem. Make them feel how unique and special they are. Validate even those flaws of theirs that the world considers wrong. When you give such a big boost to someone's ego, their defense mechanism completely breaks. They can't even imagine living without you, because the moment they come near you, they start loving themselves. To understand this psychology, we need to look at an example from today's pop fan culture and modern AI companion apps. In today's time when young people are the most lonely, big tech companies and cult brands are using this psychology. Today's AI apps give you the chance to customize a virtual partner who never fights with you, who agrees with everything you say, and who listens to you without judgment 24 hours a day. People come into such deep parasocial relationships with these digital characters that they leave the relationships of their real world and spend hours on these apps. This is nothing but an ideal lover prepared through technology, this same game is played in the corporate world and branding. Big brands of the world never sell only products. They sell an incomplete identity. When you see the advertisement of any luxury lifestyle brand, it shows you how special you are, and how by using that product you can complete your incomplete personality. They target that emptiness inside you that society has created. When any brand becomes the reflection of your dreams, you become ready to empty your pocket for it. But behind this extremely beautiful game, very big dangers are also hidden. The entire existence of the ideal lover rests on an illusion. It's like a glass house that looks very beautiful. But a small stone of reality can also shatter it completely. The biggest danger is that you can't maintain this perfect image for a very long time. You're also an ordinary human being. You also have your own weaknesses. Anger. And selfishness. The moment your prey finds out that you're not a perfect angel, but an ordinary human being, their heart breaks very badly. And when someone's illusion breaks, their love immediately turns into hatred. The second danger is that in this process you lose yourself. In the continuous chase of becoming others' fantasy, in the game of fulfilling others' desires, your own real identity slowly starts becoming blurry. You start feeling empty from the inside, because you're always acting on a script written by someone else. If you want to protect yourself from this kind of trap, you have to accept a bitter truth. No human being in this world is perfect. No one can completely fill your emptiness. Whenever you meet someone who looks too perfect, who agrees with everything you say, who fulfills every wish of yours without you saying it, understand that you're moving toward a trap. Ask yourself, is this person really like this, or have they simply sensed those weaknesses of mine that I've been hiding even from myself? When you start seeing the other person as an ordinary human being by removing them from the throne of their perfection, their magic starts fading. The strategy of the ideal lover teaches us that if you want to rule someone's heart and mind, stop proving yourself big. Instead, make the other person feel that they're big. They're special. Give air to their unfinished dreams. Fulfill their unspoken desires without speaking. When you gain the power to fill someone's emptiness, that person becomes ready to dance to your signals. Chapter 4. The Dandy. We live in a world where every human being is locked into a special box the moment they're born. If you're a boy, you have to be strict, aggressive, and emotionless. If you're a girl, you have to be delicate, caring, and always obedient to others. Society expects us to play our fixed roles with complete loyalty. But in the middle of this strict discipline, we start suffocating. We all long from the inside for that freedom where we don't have to live according to the rules made by someone else. And when someone kicks these rules of society with great beauty and indifference, we remain shocked. We become crazy about that person. This magical character who walks off the beaten path is called the dandy. The dandy isn't an ordinary rebel who fights on the streets. His rebellion is very quiet, stylish, and artistic. He blurs the boundaries between man and woman. He presents a unique balance that an ordinary person cannot even understand. In a male dandy, on one side there's amazing confidence and masculinity. On the other side, there's a woman-like sensitivity, fashion sense, and delicacy. In the same way, a female dandy shows man-like strength, fearlessness, and independence, without losing her feminine grace. This duality, this ambiguity, is the dandy's biggest weapon. If you want to include this unique dandy power in your personality, you need to understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, blend opposites. Mix opposing elements into your personality. If you look very rough and tough, bring a soft, emotional, and sensitive side into your conversation. If you look very delicate and quiet, suddenly show a surprising confidence and fearlessness through your words. When people see 2 opposite extremes in your personality, their mind falls into confusion. They can't fit you into any one category, and this confusion turns into attraction. Second rule, create your own aesthetic. Stop being part of the crowd. Create a unique style statement that stands apart from the clothes and lifestyle everyone else is following. Your clothes, your grooming sense should be so perfect and different that when you walk into a room, people understand without a word that someone special has arrived. Your fashion isn't just clothes. It's a declaration of your freedom. Third rule, complete indifference to approval. Become indifferent to people's opinions. A dandy never asks people how he looks. He doesn't care at all what society thinks about his style or his attitude. When people see that their judgment doesn't affect you, they bow down in front of this strength of yours. They feel you're living on a level far above them. To understand this psychology, we need to look at a major example from today's global fashion and pop music industry. In today's time, young people all over the world are crazy about certain male singers and models who don't rely on tight clothes or aggressive behavior to show their masculinity. They often paint their nails. They wear pearl necklaces. And they wear clothes that traditionally only girls used to wear. But when they perform on stage, their body language has amazing masculinity and power. Girls lose their minds over this style of theirs, because they don't see any aggressive threat in them. Instead, they feel a safe and attractive vibe. They've freed themselves from the rules of gender. They've made their personality so fluid that everyone gets bound in their hypnotism. This same strategy plays a very big role in the world of business and leadership. Look at some of the biggest and richest tech leaders in the world. Where old-school businessmen remained bound in strict suits, ties, and formal clothes, today's new and revolutionary leaders live in their own rhythm. They show up to big board meetings in t-shirts, shorts, or slippers. They share memes on social media and talk in front of the media as if they're sitting with their friends. This indifference of theirs and their way of breaking corporate rules gives them cult status. People don't just see them as a CEO. They start seeing them as the messiah of their generation. On the strength of this exact style, their products sell in crores even without any big advertising. But living this dandy lifestyle isn't easy. It includes very big risks and dangers. The entire effect of the dandy rests on his effortless style. That is, it should look like you're doing all this very easily, without any preparation. If people even slightly feel that you're doing all this just to get attention, or that you're trying too hard, your entire magic will end in one moment. Instead of looking like a cool icon, you'll start looking like an attention seeker or a joker. People will start making fun of you instead of praising you. The second big danger is that society never easily accepts change. When you challenge centuries-old beliefs and gender rules, conservative people can stand against you. They'll question your character. They'll troll you on social media and try everything to damage your image. If you don't have the strength to laugh off this criticism, you'll break very quickly in this game. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of hypnotic influence? When you meet someone who's very different and stylish, who's attracting you with their unique personality, keep control over your emotions. Remind yourself that all this is a very carefully planned performance. That person is using this outer shine to hide their real weaknesses, their loneliness, and their fears. When you see the person hiding behind this style, their control over you will end. The strategy of the dandy teaches us that if you want to create a different identity in the world, stop being part of the crowd. Accept both sides inside yourself. Your sensitivity and your strength. When you refuse to fit yourself into any one mold, you become a mystery. And in this world, there's no greater power than mystery. Until now we've seen characters who created a special image through their effort and planning. But can there also be someone who, without any effort, makes everyone crazy about them just like an innocent child? A character in whom no cleverness is visible. Yet even the biggest shrewd people kneel in front of them. In the next chapter, we'll unmask this extremely innocent and most dangerous character. Are you ready to face that truth that will completely change your thinking? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 5. The Natural. Remember childhood. That time when there was no fear inside you. No shame. No show. Whatever you felt, you said it. You didn't think about whether someone would judge you or not. That was a golden period of life where everything was true and pure. But as we grew up, society put thousands of masks on us. We became artificial. We started weighing every word before speaking. We learned to suppress our real emotions. Today every human being is tired of this artificial life from the inside, and wants to get back that lost innocent childhood. And the person who takes us back to that golden age, we become crazy about them. This character is called the Natural. The Natural is a person who has a childlike innocence and ease. His biggest quality is that he isn't afraid of being vulnerable. He doesn't hide his weaknesses. He places them in front of everyone with great ease. When you see a powerful or talented person who laughs openly at small things, who makes fun of his own mistakes instead of being embarrassed by them, your heart melts. In front of him, your entire defense mechanism falls. You feel this person won't harm you, because he's like an innocent child himself. If you want to awaken this natural charm inside yourself, you need to understand its 3 practical rules. First rule, embrace imperfection. Stop trying to look perfect. People are afraid of perfect people, but they love incomplete and real people. If you make a mistake, instead of hiding it, laugh openly about it. Don't be afraid of showing your small weaknesses. This ease of yours will bring the other person very close to you, because they'll feel you're an ordinary human being just like them. Second rule, speak your mind freely. Stop talking after too much thinking and calculation. Say your thing directly and truly, like a child. This boldness and spontaneity attracts people a lot. When you place your words without any filter, people feel you're very honest and there's no cunning in your words. Third rule, play in curiosity. See the world like a game. Find joy in every small thing. Show a childlike curiosity about every new thing. When the people around you see this playful nature of yours, they also forget their stress and show and join this game with you. You give them a happiness they've been missing a lot in their boring life. To understand this psychology, we need to look at a major example from today's social media and sports world. You've seen some sports stars on the internet who are among the big, but instead, after winning a match, they jump with happiness like a small child. They do funny dances in front of the camera or start crying. They admit their mistakes with complete honesty even after a loss. This innocence and truthfulness of theirs makes them the favorite of crores of fans. People become crazy about this easy personality of theirs more than their game, and feel a deep emotional connection with them. This same strategy plays a very big role in marketing and branding. In today's time, some brands are becoming popular very quickly that don't look too professional or perfect in their marketing. They deliberately place their words in a very casual, funny, and sometimes a little absurd style. They make memes on their own company's small mistakes. They talk to their customers the way a friend talks. People connect with these brands because they feel them like a real and innocent human being instead of a big corporate machine. This natural vibe also makes them stand apart from the crowd. But behind this innocence, a very big danger is also hidden. The biggest strength of the natural character is his reality. If people even slightly suspect that this innocence of yours isn't real but an act, your entire magic will end in a moment. Artificial innocence is considered the cheapest thing. People will start seeing you as a cunning and clever person who's fooling them by acting innocent. The second danger is that if you become too innocent and naive, people start taking you lightly. They try to take advantage of this ease of yours. They think this person is very simple. He can be easily fooled. So becoming natural doesn't mean you completely hide your strength and intelligence. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of innocent hypnotism? When someone seems too naive, innocent, and childlike to you, try to understand the intention hidden behind their words. Ask yourself, is this person really so simple? Or is he trying to gain something from me by using this exact innocence? A true natural will never ask you to benefit him through his innocence. But a cunning person will hide his self-interest behind the curtain of this innocence. The art of the natural teaches us that in this artificial world, there's no greater weapon than truth and ease. If you want to make a place in people's hearts, throw off your masks. Accept your weaknesses and learn to live life with a childlike innocence. When you make others feel that happiness of their childhood, they become yours forever. Until now, the characters we've seen touched people's hearts directly. But do you know there's also a character who never lets you completely win him? He calls you very close one moment and pushes you very far the next. He plays a game between hope and despair that drives you crazy. In the next chapter, we'll unmask the biggest and most cunning master of selection, who makes you his slave by making you wait. Are you ready to feel that longing? The next page of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 6. The Coquette. Waiting is the biggest and most dangerous addiction in this world. When something comes to you easily, you stop valuing it. Our mind is designed this way. We never understand the value of the thing that's lying at our feet. We enjoy the chase, longing to get the thing that's running away from us. And this exact thirst of the human mind is exploited by the most cunning master of the world of seduction. The Coquette. The Coquette is the character who plays a game of hot and cold that completely drives your mind crazy. He never lets you completely own him, and never lets you go far from him either. He'll show you a small ray of hope. He'll call you close. He'll flirt with you. And the moment you think he's chosen you, he'll suddenly pull back. He'll become cold and indifferent. If you want to understand this mind game and use it, note down its 3 biggest secrets. First rule, the art of delay. Never satisfy anyone immediately. If he messages you, Don't reduce your value by replying immediately. If he wants to meet you, keep your availability limited. When you make someone wait, during that wait he thinks about you. He reads your old messages. Looks at your pictures. In this process, his mind creates a big illusion for you. Second rule, alternate pleasure and pain. One day you'll be extremely romantic with him. You'll make him feel special. And the very next day you'll look normal and a little busy. This up and down of pleasure and pain, of happiness and restlessness, creates a chemical chaos in the other person's mind. He invests all his time and energy on you trying to crack this pattern of your behavior. Third rule, showcase self-sufficiency. Never show that you're incomplete without the other person, or that you need him a lot. Stay completely happy in your own life. When people see that you're very happy even without them, their ego gets hurt. They start trying even harder to prove themselves in front of you. To understand this psychology, we need to look at a major example from today's social media influencers and modern relationships. You've seen many premium lifestyle creators on the internet who live a very mysterious life. They never come live and talk directly to their fans. They tell very little about their personal life. They'll put half a photo of a mystery partner in their stories, or show only one corner of an expensive place. They always keep their fans in suspense. Their followers keep asking in comments, "Where are you? Who are you with?" These creators deliberately don't reply to those comments. What is this? This is the digital form of the coquette strategy. They give their fans small pieces of attention, that is, breadcrumbs. So the fans' hunger always remains, and their engagement never decreases. This strategy is also used on a large scale in the world of business and brands. Look at the most expensive brands in the world. Especially those that sell limited edition sneakers or watches. They never keep full stock in their shops. They deliberately make the goods in low quantity. They announce in advance that only 100 pieces will be sold on such and such date. People stand in line on the street all night to buy those things. The moment the sale starts, the entire stock finishes in minutes. The people who couldn't buy it become even crazier for the next time. Or brands are playing the coquette game with you. By not giving you the thing easily, they increase the desire to get it 10 times inside you. But this dangerous game also carries very big risks. If you become too cold, or make the other person long for too long, he can get tired. Every human has a limit to their patience. If he feels he'll never succeed, he'll accept his defeat and put his attention somewhere else. Your game only works as long as a small flame of hope is burning in the other person's mind. The second danger is that people start seeing you as selfish and a fraud. Your image becomes that of a person who only plays with people's emotions for his own benefit. When people understand this pattern of yours, they start avoiding your trap and start warning others about you too. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of cycle? If there's someone in your life who hurts you again and again, who sometimes shows a lot of love and sometimes becomes a complete stranger, stop immediately. Stop seeking validation from that person. The biggest answer to this game of his is your indifference. When he becomes cold, you also become completely cold. Stop replying to his messages. When the coquette sees that this game of his isn't working on you, and you're enjoying your life, his entire power game fails. He himself falls into confusion and starts getting attracted toward you. The story of the coquette teaches us that to make someone your slave, you don't have to completely surrender yourself. You have to hold yourself back. When you learn to hide your feelings and make the other person dance to your will, you gain complete control over him. Until now we've seen how distances and suspense control people. But can there also be someone who, without any show, without any game, makes a place in your heart with his sweet words? A character who calms your anger and makes you feel that he's your biggest well-wisher. In the next chapter, we'll unmask such a master manipulator who rules people's minds even without any physical attraction. Are you ready to taste that sweet poison? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 7. The Charmer. Most people think attraction only means good looks or physical appearance. But this isn't true. Physical attraction fades very quickly. The real and long-lasting control is the one done on the other person's mind. When you make someone feel special in their own eyes instead of making them fall in love with you, that person becomes your slave. In this world, every human being is insecure from the inside. Everyone has the fear of what people are thinking about them. When you end this exact fear of the other person and stroke their ego, you become the sweetest magician of this world. The charmer. The charmer never makes himself the center of attention. He never praises himself. Nor does he show how smart or rich he is. Instead, he shifts his entire attention onto the other person. He'll listen to your words as if there's no more intelligent person in this entire world than you. In his presence, all your anger, all your stress disappears in a moment. He works like a balm on the wounds of your mind. He makes people crazy about him even without any physical touch or sexual tension. If you want to develop this charming power inside yourself, you need to understand its 3 biggest secrets. First rule, deflect the spotlight. Whenever you meet someone, completely stop talking about yourself. Keep the entire focus of the conversation on the other person. Ask him about his life. Talk about his passion. People love talking about themselves a lot. When you give them the chance to talk about themselves, they feel a strange happiness and peace in your company. Second rule, mirror and validate. Match the other person's mood and his energy. If he's sad, understand his pain. If he's excited, join his happiness. Never try to directly prove his ideas wrong. When you make someone feel that whatever he's thinking or feeling is completely right, his trust in you becomes very deep. Third rule, soothe insecurities. Every human being has some weakness or fear hidden inside. Someone is insecure about their looks, someone about their career. The charmer recognizes these weaknesses and, in a very soft way, convinces the other person that he's perfect. He turns his fear into a strength. Coming out of this comfort zone becomes impossible for any human being. To understand this extremely smart psychology, we need to look at a major example from today's talk show hosts and podcasters. You've seen some talk show hosts or podcasters on the internet who look very ordinary. They don't have any extraordinary looks. But when they invite a big celebrity or politician on their show, they spread a magic through their conversation. They never try to dominate the guest. They listen to every word of the guest very calmly. They validate their emotions and, with great innocence, make them spill their deep secrets. After the show ends, even that celebrity says he felt this good for the first time in his life, and millions of viewers become crazy about that host. This is a modern form of the charmer, who brings even the biggest giants under his control through the art of conversation. This strategy also plays a very big role in the corporate and business world. Look at the relationship managers who close big clients and multi-million-dollar deals. They aren't very aggressive or sales-oriented. Instead of selling their clients any product, they become their best friends. They send their favorite gifts on the client's birthday. They ask about their children's studies and always boost their ego. The client feels this person wants my good with pure intentions. On the strength of this exact trust, they sign crores of contracts with closed eyes. They aren't connected to the company, but to that charmer manager. But this charming strategy also carries some big risks and dangers. The entire game of the charmer runs on the illusion of his honesty. That is, the other person should feel that your attraction and care are completely real. If he even slightly gets a hint that you're doing all this for some benefit, or that you only want to use him by speaking sweet words, his entire trust will break. He'll start seeing you as a fraud and a manipulator. The second danger is that in this process people become too dependent on you. They start coming to you with every small and big problem. When you continuously handle others' emotions, you become completely drained from the inside. Your own mental peace starts ending. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of sweet hypnotism? If there's someone in your life who speaks too sweetly, who agrees with everything you say, and who keeps when you come out of the net of his words and start looking at his actions, you'll understand that he's only clearing his path by pleasing your ego. The story of the charmer teaches us that if you want to rule the world, stop putting people down. Calm their defensive mood and boost their ego. When you make someone a hero in their own eyes, they happily become your slave. Until now we've seen how people are controlled through a calm and sweet nature. But do you know there's also a character who has a magical fire inside him? An energy that makes the entire room light up. When he speaks, people get hypnotized and start following him, even if he's leading them toward destruction. In the next chapter, we'll unmask the most powerful and mysterious character in history. Are you ready to face that magical power? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 8. The Charismatic. Have you ever seen someone whose entrance completely changes the atmosphere of the room? He doesn't do anything special. He just stands there. Yet everyone's eyes lock onto him. His way of speaking, the shine in his eyes, and his confidence are such that people become ready to accept every word of his. This is called charisma. The charismatic is the character who has a magical fire inside him. This isn't a quiet attraction. It's a storm that sweeps people along with it. Most people live their entire lives in confusion and fear. They doubt themselves and are always searching for a leader who can show them the path. When they find someone who has a big vision and whose confidence cannot be shaken by anyone, people start following him like crazy. The charismatic person fills this exact emptiness of people with his high energy. If you want to understand this charismatic power and bring it into your personality, you need to understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, the piercing gaze and intensity. When you talk to someone, there should be a strange depth in your eyes. Your gaze shouldn't wander here and there. When you look straight into someone's eyes without any fear, the other person feels your strength. There should be a firmness and certainty in your voice, as if you have zero doubt about what you're saying. Second rule, a larger-than-life vision. A charismatic person never talks about small things. He always sees big dreams and shows people a new future. He presents himself like a messiah or a messiah-like character who's come to change the world. When you give people a big purpose, they forget the small sorrows of their personal life and become part of your mission. Third rule, radiate energy, but remain detached. There should be a volcano of energy inside you. But at the same time, you have to keep yourself a little mysterious and distant. Don't go too close to people. When you hide your real feelings and only rarely appear in front of people, your value increases even more. People start making guesses about you and start seeing you as above an ordinary human being. To understand this powerful psychology, we need to look at a real-life example of today's biggest tech icon, Elon Musk. Elon Musk isn't a very good speaker. He hesitates while speaking and often talks with pauses. Yet his charisma rules the entire world with its head held high. Why? Because he has a big vision. He talks about settling a human colony on Mars. He talks about putting chips in the human brain. This larger-than-life vision of his hypnotizes people so much that they start seeing him not as an ordinary businessman, but as the protector of humanity. Because of this exact charismatic image of his, people invest their money in his company's stocks and crypto coins with closed eyes, even if his companies are running in losses. In the world of sports, we also get a big example of this charisma in the form of Virat Kohli. When Virat Kohli steps onto the field, his body language has amazing intensity and aggression. He never accepts defeat, and this unbreakable belief of his fills his fellow players and millions of fans with energy too. His eyes are always fixed on victory. This raw self-confidence is his biggest charisma. People don't come just to watch his game. They come to feel that high-voltage energy he radiates on the field. But this magical power also carries very big dangers. Charisma is like a double-edged sword. The biggest danger is that if your vision fails, or people find out that your promises were only empty words, they'll crush you very badly. The same crowd that was worshiping you until yesterday will be the first to come forward to stone you, calling you a fraud and a cheat. The second danger is that maintaining this level of intensity and energy all the time can be very exhausting for you. You can't live like a god 24 hours a day. Ask yourself, does this person really have any concrete plan, or is he just fooling me with the magic of his words and high energy? When you start looking at the facts, the fog of charisma clears, and you start seeing the real truth. The strategy of the charismatic teaches us that the biggest power in the world isn't money or a gun, it's the belief you awaken inside people. When you trust yourself 100%, the entire world starts trusting you. Until now we've seen how some people control the entire crowd with the fire inside them. But can there also be someone who, while staying distant, becomes a symbol of our unfinished desires like a falling star? A character who never comes close to you, yet you remain crazy to get even one glimpse of him. In the next chapter, we'll unmask the brightest and most distant character of seduction. Are you ready to understand the magic of that distance? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Part 1. The Seductive Character. Chapter 9. The Star. The world we live in is very ordinary, boring, and exhausting. Waking up in the morning and following the same daily routine. Going to the office or college and sleeping tired at night. There's no magic in our life, no drama. To escape this dull reality, our mind is always searching for an escape. We search for a world in films, songs, and social media that's miles away from this ordinary life of ours. And when someone appears like a shining star in the sky, living a mysterious and perfect life far from this dull world of ours, we can't take our eyes off him. Touching him becomes impossible. But people remain crazy to get even one glimpse of him. This magical and out-of-reach character is called the Star. The Star isn't an ordinary human being. He's a living dream. He's an illusion that makes people feel, if only our life was also like this. The Star never brings the shortcomings of his ordinary life in front of people. He'll never appear tired, troubled, or crying. Whenever he appears, his look, his style, and his attitude will be so perfect that he'll seem like a creature from another world. He never comes very close to you, and this is his biggest power. Distance creates a protection shield around him that hides his flaws and only shows his charm. If you want to awaken star power inside yourself and make people crazy about you, you need to include its 3 biggest rules in your personality. First rule, create a visual style. Your look and your style should be so unique that people recognize you at a glance even in a crowd. Every single thing of yours, whether it's your clothes, your way of talking, or your body language, should be like a carefully thought-out art. Stop looking ordinary and casual. When you present yourself like a painting or a character from a film, people start seeing you as above an ordinary human being. Second rule, the art of distance. In this age of social media, where everyone is sharing every small and big thing of their life on the internet, you have to become completely absent. What you're eating in the morning, where you're going, who you're meeting, there's no need to tell the world all this. When you keep your life completely private, people start filling your empty spaces with their imaginations. They start thinking big stories about you. Your absence itself becomes your biggest value. Third rule, become a blank canvas. Always keep your feelings and your opinions suppressed. Don't talk too much. When you stay quiet and don't show any clear emotion on your face, the other person starts projecting his unfinished desires and dreams onto you. He starts understanding you as what he himself wants to see. You become a screen for him, on which he watches the film of his dreams. To understand this super smart psychology, we need to look at a real-life example of Hollywood's finest actor Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy is known for his acting, but his real stardom is hidden in his mysterious attitude. He's miles away from social media. He doesn't like going to any kind of talk shows or interviews, and when he does go, he remains very quiet and detached. He never brings his personal life or his family into the limelight. This cold and mysterious attitude of his creates a magical aura around him. People want to know more about him. They remain desperate for even one glimpse of him. He's not an ordinary actor, but has become a mysterious star of the cinema world. In the world of music, we get another big example like this in the form of singer Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey's entire aesthetic reminds one of a completely different era. Her songs, her music videos, and her fans don't see her as a normal pop star. They worship her like a goddess who's become the face of their unfinished and sad fantasies. But behind this shining star image, very big dangers are also hidden. The entire power of the star rests on his distance and illusion. The biggest danger comes when the camera comes too close, that is, when overexposure happens. If people see you doing everyday work, getting angry, or with any of your weaknesses, their illusion breaks. The moment people find out that you're also an ordinary human being just like them, who also has the same useless problems, your stardom collapses in 1 second. The second danger is that to maintain this image, you continuously have to strangle your real identity. You can never live openly according to your own will. You always have to walk around wearing a perfect mask. This lifestyle makes a person very lonely and hollow from the inside. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of magical and distant hypnotism? Whenever you start going crazy about any star or celebrity whose life looks very perfect to you, show yourself the mirror of reality. Remember that what the camera shows is only half the truth. Behind it there are big PR teams, stylists, makeup artists, and cameramen who work day and night to prepare that perfect image. That person also wakes up in the morning and brushes his teeth. He also gets illnesses, and he also struggles with insecurities. When you start seeing the hard-working human being hidden behind that shine, the hypnotism of that star completely leaves your mind. The story of the star teaches us that if you want to leave a deep impression on people's hearts, don't always remain present in front of them. Learn to go a little far. When you stay away from people's lives, they understand your value. Instead of becoming part of the crowd, become that star in the sky that people can only look up at, but can never touch. Until now we've seen the 9 most powerful and magical characters of selection. They all know how to rule people's hearts in some way or another. But do you know there's also a character that people start running away from the moment they come near him? A person who, even if unknowingly, breaks every single rule of attraction and forces everyone to hate him. In the next chapter, we'll unmask the biggest enemy of seduction so you can know what you must never become. Are you ready to understand that greatest warning? The next page of the mystery is about to open. Part 1. The Seductive Character. Chapter 10. The Anti-Seducer. Until now in this journey you've understood the biggest powers of seduction. You've seen those characters who rule people's hearts, who make the crowd their slave with just one look. But in this world where the rules of attraction work, the rules of repulsion also work. There are some people near whom people immediately start creating distance. They don't do any wrong work. They don't commit any crime. Yet people don't like to spend even a single moment with them. They unknowingly break every single rule of attraction. This biggest repulsive character is called the anti-seducer. If seduction means focusing your entire attention on the other person, then anti-seduction means remaining completely lost in yourself. The anti-seducer is a person who has zero self-awareness. He never realizes how much his behavior is bothering others. He remains lost in his own world. He keeps praising himself and completely drains others' energy. He's the biggest villain of the world of attraction. If you want to avoid the trap of this anti-seducer, or check whether these flaws have unknowingly entered you too, carefully understand its biggest signs. First sign, the windbag, that is, the one who talks too much. He doesn't need a partner in conversation. He only needs an audience. When he meets you, he'll keep talking only about himself, his achievements, and his problems. He'll never ask how you are. The moment you try to say something, he'll cut your words in the middle and start his story again. Sitting near such a person, the other person's mind gets tired, and he starts looking for a way to escape from there. Second sign, the tightwad, that is, the extremely miserly person. Here miserliness isn't only of money, but of emotions too. This person calculates everything. If he buys a gift for you, he'll keep an account of its price. He'll keep an account of the time spent with you. Because of this calculative and small thinking of his, the entire magic of attraction breaks in one stroke. Seduction demands an open and big heart. But this person looks for his small benefit in everything. Third sign, the clinger, that is, the overly insecure and clingy person. This is the one who doesn't even give you space to breathe. He'll message you every half hour. He'll ask where you are, who you're with. If you don't reply to his message immediately, he'll start fighting or start crying. This insecurity of his forces the other person to feel suffocated from the inside. A human being loves his freedom. To understand this exhausting behavior, we need to look at a very big real-life example from today's social media influencers. You've seen many YouTubers or content creators on the internet who are very popular in the beginning. But slowly their followers start decreasing, and people start disliking them. Why does this happen? Because they become anti-seducers. They start showing off their luxury life in front of the camera. They keep making crying videos about how the entire world is conspiring against them. Instead of saying thank you to their fans, they start getting angry at them for not sharing their videos. This ego of theirs and continuously playing the victim card repels people very badly. People sense that desperate and selfish attitude of theirs and unfollow them in one stroke, finishing their entire reach. In the business and corporate world too, a classic example of anti-seduction can be seen. There are some managers or team leaders who do micromanagement. They interfere in every small work of their employees. They never praise anyone's work, but always keep finding faults. In meetings they spend hours only narrating their old success stories and call others' ideas nonsense. What's the result? The best and most talented people of their team leave the company. No one respects them. People make fun of them behind their back. In the chase of becoming a big leader, they become the biggest anti-seducer of their own team. But can this anti-seducer behavior be changed? Can a person improve this repulsive image of his? Yes, absolutely. But it needs a very big courage. The courage to look at yourself in the mirror. First of all, stop talking and start listening. When you meet someone, keep your ego aside and show genuine interest in the other person's words. Don't let him feel that you're only waiting for your turn so you can start speaking. Second, learn to give people space. For attraction, the presence of air is very necessary. If you give a tree too much water, its roots will rot. In the same way, if you give someone too much attention, he'll stop valuing you. Create a separate value for yourself in your life so that people have the desire to come to you, instead of you having to run after them. Third, end your miserliness. Whether it's money, praise, or love, learn to give with a big heart. When you openly praise someone or do something for someone without any expectation of benefit, people become crazy about this greatness of yours. So how do you protect yourself from these kinds of anti-seducer people? If there's someone in your life who's continuously sucking your energy, who tires you with his nonsense talks, or who troubles you with his insecurities, create distance in a very soft way. There's no benefit in arguing with such people, because they'll never accept their mistake. They don't have self-awareness, so they'll never understand that they're wrong. To save your mental peace, start picking up their phone less. Limit your meetings with them. The story of the anti-seducer teaches us that the biggest rule of seduction isn't what you have to do, but what you must never do. When you recognize your flaws and learn to control your ego, you unknowingly become attractive for the right people. Until now we've deeply understood all the big characters of Part 1. We've seen the powers of attraction and the dangers of repulsion too. But this was only the identification of the characters. The real game is about to begin now. In Part 2 we'll understand that process, that cycle through which someone is trapped step by step in your net. How a stranger is made crazy about you. Are you ready to learn that practical process of seduction? The real and most dangerous part of the mystery is now about to come in front of you. Part 2. The seductive process. Phase 1. Separation. Chapter 11. Choose the right victim. Seduction isn't a coincidence. It isn't something that happens on its own. It's an extremely carefully thought out and calculated strategy. The very first and most important rule of this game is this. If you try to attract everyone, in the end you won't be able to seduce anyone. A seducer never aims at the crowd. He doesn't waste his energy in useless places. He first chooses his victim. He sees which person is completely ready at this time to fall into his trap. If your target itself is wrong, even your best strategy will completely fail. Most people make the biggest mistake in the game of attraction right here. They look at anyone and start using their charm on him. They don't think about what mental state the other person is in at this time. Is he calm from the inside? Is he completely satisfied with his life? If a person is completely happy in his life, settled, and has no emptiness inside him, seducing him is impossible. You'll get tired yourself breaking his strong walls. But not even a hair of his will be harmed. For seduction, there needs to be an empty space in the other person's heart and mind. A corner where there's longing, boredom, or some unfinished desire. If you want to master this art of choosing the victim, you need to understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, look for vacuum, that is, search for emptiness. The perfect victim isn't the one who's very beautiful or rich. The perfect victim is the one who's going through some big change in his life. Some such people's defense mechanism is very weak. There's an emotional emptiness inside them that they're longing to fill. They're themselves searching for someone who comes into their life and changes everything. Second rule, avoid the impenetrable, that is, stay away from impenetrable people. There are some people who have no imagination inside them. They're too practical, cold, and logical. They look at everything with suspicion. Don't waste your energy on such people. For seduction, the other person needs the power to imagine. If a person can't weave big dreams on the small hint you give, he'll never fall into your trap. People who are too self-centered or who only love themselves are also very bad targets. Third rule, the opposite polarity, that is, the rule of opposite poles. Choose a person of a completely different temperament from yourself. If you're very quiet and serious, target someone who's very talkative and restless. If you're very aggressive and bold, choose someone who's shy and reserved. This opposing energy collides with each other very fast and creates an amazing magnetic pull. People get most attracted toward the thing they themselves don't have. To understand this powerful psychology, we need to look at a big real-life example from today's high-ticket sales and premium consulting. The big companies that sell crores of wealth management schemes or luxury villas never show their advertisements to the ordinary crowd. They choose their clients after a lot of research. Who's their target? Some rich person who's recently retired. He has a lot of money in life. But now he has no work. He's suddenly become empty. He's feeling loneliness, and he sees his value decreasing. These companies target this exact emptiness of that person. They don't just sell him a property or a scheme. They offer him a new identity, a new status, and a new social circle. That rich person, to remove that exact loneliness of his, blindly spends crores of rupees on those companies. He considers himself very smart. But in reality, he's the most perfect victim of that marketing team. In modern relationships in the age of social media, this strategy works exactly the same way. In today's time, the cunning manipulators never cast their net on people who are too confident and surrounded by their friends. They track the profiles of people on social media who are alone. They choose those girls or boys who share sad quotes in their posts, who are traveling alone, or who are going through some difficult phase of their life. The manipulator senses this exact loneliness of theirs. He enters their life with great innocence. He becomes their biggest sympathizer, and slowly makes them completely emotionally dependent on him. The other person feels he has found his Messiah. But in reality, a very cunning seducer has made him his victim. But this process of choosing the victim also includes a very big risk and warning. If by mistake you choose someone who is psychologically very unstable, or who is filled with a lot of hatred and anger, this game of yours will become life-threatening for you yourself. Such people will fall into your trap very easily in the beginning. But the moment you try to create a little distance from them, they will go crazy. They can blackmail you. They can harm your life, or completely destroy your social image. That's why the seducer's biggest skill is his sharp eye. He must know which fruit to pluck, and which one to leave on the tree itself. So how can you protect yourself from becoming this kind of victim? Whenever someone in your life suddenly starts taking too much interest. Whenever a stranger starts trying to know every preference and measurement of yours, become alert immediately. Don't open your vulnerability in front of anyone so quickly. Try to fill your emptiness yourself, instead of sitting dependent on some external person. When you are completely satisfied and aware from the inside, no seducer can throw his net over you. All his moves fail in front of your confidence. This first step of the art of seduction teaches us that power is never in striking directly, but in striking at the right place. When you choose the right victim, half your path becomes easy on its own. Now you have learned how to choose the victim. But the game has only just begun. You don't have to go straight to him and tell him that you like him. If you go directly, he will become defensive and raise his walls. You have to take the indirect path. You have to create a false sense of security inside him, so that he himself opens his doors for you. In the next chapter, we will decode the second big step of seduction, the one that will completely disarm your victim. Are you ready to know that next strategy? The next page of the mystery is about to open in front of you. Chapter 12. Create a false sense of security. Approach indirectly. When you go into the forest to hunt a wild animal, do you run straight toward it with a gun in your hand? If you do that, the animal will either attack you or run away in fear. The human mind works exactly the same way. When you go straight to someone and express your desires, the other person's alarm system switches on. His walls rise. The very first rule of controlling anyone in this world is this: never attack from the front. First, make him feel safe. Let him feel that he is completely safe, and then very quietly bring down his defensive system. This master strategy is called create a false sense of security. If you want to use the power of this indirect approach, understand its 3 most necessary golden rules. First rule, the friendship mask. Don't go near your victim as a lover or a seducer. Go near him as a friend, a helper, or a guide. When you suppress all your romantic or sexual desires and present yourself only like a friend, the other person's mind stops considering you a threat. He starts sharing all his secrets with you. He feels you are with him with pure intentions. Second rule, talk about common interests. Use some neutral ground to connect with the other person. Talk about a common hobby, work, or some third topic. When you talk about a common topic, the conversation feels very natural. He never suspects that you are doing all this only to get close to him. Third rule, the slow shift. When you feel the other person has become completely comfortable with you, he has started sharing the things of his personal life with you, then slowly change the tone of your conversation. Start adding a little flirt, a little suspense, and a little attention into your friendship. This shift should be so slow that the other person doesn't even realize when he crossed the boundary of friendship and entered your net. Big corporate dealers use this strategy in a very cunning way. Suppose there's a big software developer who wants to close a deal with a very large retail company. If he directly calls the CEO of that company and tries to sell his software, the CEO will cut his phone. Because the CEO gets hundreds of such sales calls every day. He hates salesmen. So what does that developer do? He doesn't approach directly. He finds out what the CEO is fond of. He learns that the CEO is very fond of vintage cars. The developer goes to a vintage car exhibition, where that CEO is also going to come. He meets the CEO there like an ordinary car enthusiast. They talk about cars for hours. The developer never mentions his company or software. He only becomes a good friend. They exchange numbers, and for the next few weeks they only talk about their common hobby. The CEO becomes completely relaxed. He feels this person is very sordid, and has become my friend without any self-interest. When this trust becomes completely strong, one day during casual conversation the CEO himself mentions some big software problem of his company, and the developer says with great ease that his team can easily solve this problem. The CEO immediately becomes ready. This deal closes without any sales pitch. This is called the indirect approach. In modern relationships in the age of social media, this game is also played on a very large scale. The big manipulators on social media never go straight into a girl's DM and write flirty lines. They know that seeing such lines, girls will immediately block them or ignore them. They take a completely different path. They carefully watch the girl's stories. Suppose the girl shared a photo of some difficult book or some special kind of music. The manipulator, with great maturity, makes a very intellectual comment on that topic. He doesn't praise. He only asks a genuine question about that book. The girl feels this is not an ordinary boy. This one is very understanding. The conversation starts. For weeks they only talk about books, films, and philosophy. A very big sense of security is born in the girl's mind. She feels this boy is not desperate like other boys. This is only a good friend. And the moment this comfort zone is formed, the manipulator slowly starts changing his vibe. He starts entering the emotional corners of her life. By the time the girl realizes this, she cannot even imagine living without that boy. She is completely trapped in his net. But this indirect game also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you stretch this act of friendship too long, you can get stuck in the friend zone forever. Once the image of only a brother or a simple friend is formed in the other person's mind, changing that image becomes impossible. That's why you must know how to change your turn at the right time. The second big danger is that if the other person even slightly suspects that your friendship was only a show, that you were only acting all this to get close to him, his trust will break very badly. He will feel used, and will go away from you forever. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of hidden attack? Whenever someone in your life suddenly starts becoming too helpful. Whenever someone stands ready without any reason to solve every small and big problem of yours, keep your eyes open. Ask yourself, what's the real motive of this person? Does he truly care about me? Or is he very quietly searching for a path to come close to me? When you start recognizing this indirect behavior of people, no one can make a fool of you. The art of the indirect approach teaches us that patience and silence are the real strength. When you learn to control your desires, the world itself opens its doors in front of you. Now you have learned how to disarm your victim. His defense system has fallen. But what's the next step? Only becoming a good friend will not work. Now you have to create a sweet confusion in his mind. You have to send him mixed signals, so that he is forced to think only about you 24 hours a day. In the next chapter, we will decode the third and most chapter 13. Send mixed signals. Our mind is a very strange machine. It needs clarity in everything. It likes patterns. When we completely understand someone's behavior, when we know what he is thinking and what his next step will be, our mind relaxes. In the moment the mind relaxes, attraction ends. Boredom begins. A human never values the thing he has completely decoded. The things that drive us crazy are the ones that are like a puzzle, one part of which is visible to us, but the other part is hidden in the dark. And to take advantage of this exact human weakness, the seducer uses his most intoxicating strategy. Send mixed signals. Sending mixed signals doesn't mean you behave strangely like a mad person. It means creating a deep contradiction, a contrast, in your personality. You have to become two different things for the other person at the same time. You have to look innocent as well as clever. You have to come very close, and suddenly create a cold distance too. When you send these opposing signals together, the other person's mind goes into a deep suspense. He is forced to think only this 24 hours a day, what are you really, and what do you want? If you want to master this mind game, carefully understand its three biggest rules. First rule, the contrast of personality. Never keep your identity one-dimensional, that is, the same. If you look very strict, rough, and tough from the outside, sometimes show a very soft, emotional, and sensitive side in your conversation. On the other hand, if you look very simple and quiet, suddenly show a surprising boldness and fearlessness through your words. When people see these two completely opposite extremes in your personality, they get confused. In the attempt to measure your depth, they get trapped in the net of your thoughts. Second rule, the hot and cold game. When you meet your target, give him amazing warmth through your words and your eyes. Make him feel that he is very special for you. But the next time you meet him or talk on the phone, become a little quiet and detached. Keep your conversation very casual and formal. This sudden change will create a strange restlessness in the other person's heart. He will start thinking whether he did something wrong. he will start longing to get back that old warm and loving form of yours. Third rule, ambiguity of intent. Never completely open your cards. Always keep the other person in this confusion. Do you consider him only a friend, or do you love him? Sometimes he should feel that you are seducing him, and the very next moment he should feel that you are only very friendly. As long as this suspense remains, the voltage of attraction will keep rising. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a very interesting real-life example from today's video gaming industry and big tech companies. There are some gaming studios in the world that release very strange and cryptic, that is, mysterious, teasers of their new game years before its release. In these teasers there is no clear story. On one side they show a very beautiful and calm world, and suddenly in the next frame they show very scary and strange things. Gamers become completely crazy seeing these mixed signals. Thousands of YouTubers on the internet start making hours-long videos to decode every single frame of those teasers. People continuously debate among themselves, what's the real story of this game? These mixed signals create a very big buzz and hype for that game. The game earns crores on the very first day of its release. What is this? This is the power of mixed signals that creates an itch in people's minds, which they become ready to pay any price to calm. In modern relationships in the age of social media, this game is also played on a very large scale. You've seen some popular social media couples or influencers who continuously send mixed signals about their personal life. Sometimes they will post a very romantic vacation photo together, and the very next day they will suddenly unfollow each other or delete all the old photos from their profile. Fans become completely shocked. Articles start appearing in the media. Has their breakup happened? And the moment this discussion reaches its peak, they suddenly come live together again and start laughing. This game of theirs keeps their followers continuously bound to their page. People cannot stop talking about them. They know how to control attention. But this game of mixed signals also carries very big dangers. If you don't play this game with great delicacy and style, it will completely fail. The biggest danger is that if your signals become too strange, dirty, or violent, the other person will start seeing you as unstable, fake, or crazy. He will get tired of this behavior of yours and block you forever. This game only works as long as there is a mysterious grace and style in it. The second danger is that people who are mentally very mature and solid catch this childish game of yours very quickly. They understand that you are only doing all this drama to get attention. Instead of falling into your trap, they completely create distance from you. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of cycle? If there's someone in your life who is continuously sending mixed signals about you, who sometimes places you on his eyelids and sometimes completely ignores you, immediately put a brake on your emotions. Stop becoming part of this game of his. When he gives you a cold signal, you also become completely quiet. Stop running after him. When he sees that this push and pull game of his is not affecting you at all, his entire power game will fail. He himself will fall into confusion seeing your quiet attitude. The story of mixed signals teaches us that if you want to rule people's minds, don't open all the pages of your book at once. People should always be waiting for your next step. When you become a puzzle, people completely lose themselves in the game of solving you. Now you have created a sweet confusion in the other person's mind. He has started thinking about you. But only confusion will not work. Now you have to use a very cunning weapon to increase the jealousy and your value even more inside him. You have to make yourself something for which the entire world is standing in a line. You have to create triangles in front of him. In the next chapter, we will decode the fourth and most effective step of seduction, the one that will increase the longing to get you 100 times inside your victim. Are you ready to know that dangerous strategy? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 14. Appear to be an object of desire. Create triangles. Human beings are herd animals. Most of the decisions we don't make ourselves. We make them by looking at others. If there's a very long line outside a restaurant, we assume the food inside must be very good. If a book is on the bestseller list, we become desperate to read it. If someone is the center of desire for many people, we also start getting attracted toward him. This is the power of social proof, and this exact power is used as a very big weapon in the world of seduction. It's called create triangles. Creating a triangle means making yourself someone that many people in the world want. When your target sees that other people are also getting attracted toward you, a jealousy is born inside him. He starts thinking, what's so special about this person that everyone is crazy about him? Am I missing something? This jealousy, and the fear that someone else might get you, starts pulling him toward you even faster. If you want to use this triangle power in your life, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, build a reputation of desirability. Present yourself in your social circle as someone around whom people are always gathered. Your social media profile should be such that looking at it feels like there's always something exciting going on in your life. You're always roaming with someone, laughing, or busy with some big work. When your target looks at your profile, he'll feel this person's life is very full and rich. He'll become even more desperate to meet you. Second rule, use a third person. In front of your target, mention some third person who is very attracted to you. This should be done in a very soft and delicate way. Don't directly say that so-and-so likes me. Instead, while talking casually, say that today in a meeting one of my colleagues gave me a very strange compliment. The moment he hears this, a small spark will light up in your target's mind. Suddenly your value will start looking much higher to him. Third rule, public attraction. When you're with your target in some social gathering, talk with the other people in a very energetic and charming way too. Make everyone laugh. Interest everyone with your words. When your target sees that you're leaving such a deep effect on the other people as well, he'll suddenly start feeling insecure. He'll try harder to get your attention back. To understand this powerful psychology, we need to look at a very big real-life example from today's music industry. Look at Bad Bunny, that is, Benito Antonio Martinez. He's one of the most streamed artists in the world. A very big secret of his popularity is that he attracts people of every age, every gender, and every culture. Girls go to his concerts. Boys go. Old people go. And children go too. When your target sees that so many different kinds of people are crazy about the same person, a curiosity is born in his mind. What's so special about this person? This triangle effect itself turns him from a normal singer into a global phenomenon. This triangle strategy also plays a very big role in the world of business and marketing. You've seen that when some big investment fund puts money into a startup, suddenly 5 more investors also line up to put money into the same startup. Why does this happen? Because when a big and respected investor chooses a startup, the other investors assume that there must be something very big in this startup. Instead of doing their own research, they start trusting others' choice. This is the triangle effect. One investor's choice pulls the rest of the investors into the same triangle. And startup founders play this exact game very deliberately. They first try their best to make some big name their investor, because they know that after one big name comes, the rest will come. The biggest danger is that if you start creating triangles too much and too openly, you start looking like a player and a dishonest person. People stop taking you seriously. Your image becomes that of someone who's only hungry for attention and can never stay true with anyone. The second danger is that people who are very insecure and emotionally unstable cannot handle this triangle game. If you create too much jealousy, they'll completely go away from you. They'll feel this relationship will be filled with too much stress and insecurity. The third danger is that while playing this game you yourself can also get trapped in its net. When you continuously flirt with many people and create triangles, slowly you yourself don't know whom you actually want. You go so deep into this game that coming out becomes difficult. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of social pressure and jealousy game? When you feel someone is trying to create jealousy inside you. When you see someone deliberately mentioning his attraction with others, immediately stop your mind. Remember that this is a calculated move. That person is deliberately trying to activate your insecurity. When you understand this mechanism, your jealousy automatically decreases. Build a self-esteem inside yourself that doesn't shake with others' popularity or others' attraction. The art of creating triangles teaches us that if you want to increase your value in the eyes of the world, don't make yourself easily available for everyone. When you give time only to select people, and show the world that your life is already full, people get pulled toward you on their own. Now you've seen how to make yourself desirable. But there's still some lack. Your target is getting attracted toward you, but he still doesn't need you that much. He still doesn't feel that without you his life is incomplete. In the next chapter, we will decode the fifth and darkest step of seduction, the one that will create a deep restlessness and incompleteness inside your target. He himself will start feeling that something very big is missing in his life, and only you can fill that lack. Are you ready to know that darkest and most dangerous strategy? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 15. Create a need. Stir anxiety and discontent. A happy and completely satisfied person can never be seduced. If someone is 100% happy with his life, his work, and his partner, your words are only noise for him. He won't even pay attention to you. Seduction begins only when there's an emptiness in the other person's heart, a wound. If that wound isn't already present, you have to create that wound with great cleverness. You have to create a restlessness, a fear, and an incompleteness inside him. You have to make him feel that the way his life is going, it's very ordinary and incomplete. This dangerous technique is called create a need, stir anxiety and discontent. The human mind is always searching for the comfort zone. But the moment it enters the comfort zone, it becomes lazy. When you awaken this fear inside someone that he's falling behind in life, or that his partner isn't giving him the happiness he should be getting, his mind becomes active. He starts looking for a way to calm that anxiety, and at that exact moment you present yourself in front of him as the medicine for that pain. When you yourself give the pain, and yourself become the medicine, the other person comes completely under your control. If you want to use this psychological weapon, understand its three most precise rules. First rule, indirect criticism. Never directly criticize the other person. If you directly say that your life is boring, he'll get angry and go away from you. Instead, talk about the thrill of your life, your achievements, or the amazing life of others. When you place in front of him a scene of a life that's very grand and free, he'll start comparing himself with you on his own. Suddenly his life will start looking very small and dull to him. An inferiority complex will be born inside him on its own. Second rule, poke hidden insecurity. Every human being has something he's afraid of. Someone has the fear of growing old, someone of his career stopping, someone of remaining alone. You have to touch this fear of his with great delicacy. During conversation, very casually open topics that awaken his insecurity. When his fear comes out, he'll get scared. Third rule, present yourself as the only escape. When the other person becomes completely troubled and restless with his life, then give him support. Make him feel that in your presence he can forget all his worries. Your vibe should be such that when he's with you, he feels the solution to all the problems of his life is only with you. You become a refuge for him. To understand this deep psychology, we need to look at a big real-life example from today's social media and premium wellness industry. Look at some lifestyle and fitness influencers on the internet who are extremely popular among young people. They don't directly sell any product. Their first step is to create anxiety inside you. They post videos of their perfect body, their expensive diet plan, and their luxury car right after waking up. In their videos they say that if you're stuck in a 9-to-5 job, wake up late in the morning, and only party on weekends, you're wasting your life. Seeing this, an ordinary young person who's working hard becomes very insecure and restless from the inside. He feels how useless and toxic his life is. A deep incompleteness is born inside him, and the moment that young person reaches the peak of this anxiety, that same influencer places his premium course or the subscription of his community in front of him. To escape that restlessness, and to become part of that perfect life, the young person blindly spends his hard-earned money on that course. This is a business model of seduction itself, where first anxiety is sold, and then its cure is sold. In modern relationships too, this strategy works in a very silent way. Some very cunning partners play this game in their relationship. They don't directly fight with their partner. They say with great love that you're so good, but your friends take so much advantage of you. Or they'll say that your family doesn't value you. With great cleverness they sow the seed of suspicion and dissatisfaction toward his own people in the partner's heart. The partner starts feeling that the entire world is against him, and only this lover of his truly understands him. He gets cut off from his social circle, and becomes completely dependent on that partner. But this dark game also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you create too much anxiety or sadness, the other person will completely break, or go into depression. When a person becomes too hopeless, instead of getting attracted he starts running away from you, because your presence reminds him of his sorrows. You have to keep the dose of pain very limited and controlled. The second danger is that if the other person even slightly suspects that you're deliberately putting him down or making him feel insecure, his ego will get hurt. He'll catch this game of yours, and raise a wall against you for his own safety. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of cunning manipulation? Whenever someone comes into your life who, with very sweet words, tries to create hatred or suspicion inside you toward your life, your work, or your friends, become alert immediately. Ask yourself, am I really troubled with my life, or is this person making me feel this way? Don't connect your self-value with anyone's compliments or criticism. When you completely accept yourself and trust your decisions, no one can create incompleteness inside you. The story of creating a need teaches us that until people feel the lack of something in their life, they won't take a step toward you. The real magic of attraction is that you prove people incomplete in their own eyes, and then become the Messiah who fills that lack of theirs. Now you've created a deep desire and restlessness in the other person's heart. He's a little troubled with his life, and has started looking toward you. But to completely bring him under control, you still have to learn one more magical art. Instead of striking directly, you have to plant your ideas in his mind with great silence. You have to speak a language that he starts understanding as his own thinking. In the next chapter, we will decode the sixth and most delicate step of seduction, the one that will completely hypnotize your victim. Are you ready to know that magical strategy? The next page of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 16. Master the Art of Insinuation. Have you ever thought, are the thoughts that come into our mind really our own? Or does someone plant them in our mind with great silence? A very big specialty of the human mind is this. It doesn't like listening to orders. When someone directly tells you something, or tries to convince you for something, your conscious barrier immediately becomes active. You become defensive. You start suspecting his intentions. But if the same thought is put into your mind like a small seed, which you yourself find and grow, you trust it with closed eyes. This extremely delicate and magical art is called insinuation, that is, getting your point accepted through hints and suggestions. Insinuation is the opposite of a direct attack. It's a hidden game played through words, where you don't say anything directly, but say a lot. You leave a small thought in the other person's subconscious mind, and then step back. His mind itself starts growing that thought. He starts thinking this idea was his own. When you guide someone's mind in this way, all his resistance disappears into thin air. If you want to use this delicate mind game in your life, understand its three biggest rules. First rule, the art of the hint, that is, the magic of incomplete words. When you're talking to your target, suddenly say some very deep or personal thing, and the moment he pays attention to it, immediately change your topic. Very casually say, leave it, we'll talk about this some other time. This incompleteness will create a deep curiosity in the other person's mind. He'll start thinking what you actually wanted to say. His subconscious mind will keep working continuously to complete that incomplete talk. Second rule, double meanings and subtext. Use words and sentences that have two meanings. One meaning that's very ordinary and safe, that anyone can hear, and the second meaning that's extremely personal, bold, and suggestive, that directly hits your target's emotions. When you talk like this, the other person tries to find the real meaning hidden behind your words. This mental exercise raises the level of attraction a lot. Third rule, physical invitation, that is, the hint of gestures. Sometimes there's no need to speak words. A gaze that stays just 1 second longer than normal. A light smile that suddenly disappears, or coming very close to the other person in a very soft way while talking, and then immediately stepping back. These small signals directly trigger the subconscious mind. The other person feels an unspoken connection is forming between you and him, but he can't prove it. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a big real-life example from today's digital branding and tech world. The biggest tech leaders of the world and their marketing teams never directly tell the features of their new product on the day of launch. Months before the launch, they plant small leaks on the internet with great cunning. They show a small corner of their new device in the background of some social media post, or give a very mysterious hint in some interview. These small leaks become a puzzle for the internet community. Millions of tech bloggers and YouTubers start making their theories on those leaks. They debate for hours to decode this indirect suggestion. What's the result? Even before the product launches, the desire to buy that device has already become very deep in people's minds. They believe this discovery is their own, while the truth is that the PR team of that company had already planted this need in their mind with great cleverness. In modern relationships in the age of social media, this game is played on a very large scale through Instagram stories. People use subtext instead of writing something directly on their profile. Suppose someone needs the attention of his target. Instead of messaging directly, he puts a song on his story that is connected to some old conversation between the two of them, or shares a blurred photo of some place where they once went together. For the rest of the world, this story is only a normal post. But for that target, it's a very big subconscious trigger. He immediately understands this hint is for him. He starts thinking whether you're remembering him. A storm of your thoughts rises in his mind. He can't stop himself, and finally reacts to your story. In this way, without talking directly, without putting your ego at stake, you force the other person to fail himself. But this extremely delicate and fine art also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if your cleverness isn't settled enough, and the other person even slightly feels that you're deliberately trying to manipulate him, your entire impression will get spoiled. People will start seeing you as an oversmart or cheap person. The real magic of insinuation is only in its silence. The second danger is that if you become too subtle, it's possible the other person doesn't understand your hints at all. He can be a very simple and logical person who only understands clear talks. In that case, all your hard work will go waste. That's why you have to recognize the level of your target's mind, whether he can understand the language of hints or not. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of subconscious manipulation? Whenever you find your thinking suddenly changing in someone's presence. Whenever you feel you're working on some idea that wasn't even in your mind a few days ago, stop immediately. Ask yourself, where did this thought come into my mind from? Did someone plant this seed in my mind with great silence through his conversation or his behavior? When you start reading the subtext hidden behind others' words, their magic over you ends. You stop dancing to their signals. The art of insinuation teaches us that real power is never in getting your point accepted by shouting. It's in very quietly taking the remote control of the other person's mind into your own hands. When you master the language of hints, people do exactly what you want, and they remain happy because they feel this decision was their own. Now you've learned how to plant the seed of your ideas in the other person's mind. He has started understanding your hints, and remains drowned in your thoughts. But to take the game further, you have to go even closer to him. You have to become part of his own existence. You have to merge into his mood, his preferences, and his soul in such a way that he forgets the difference between you and himself. In the next chapter, we will decode the seventh and deepest step of seduction, the one that will melt all the defensive shields of your victim forever. Are you ready to know that magical strategy? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 17. Enter their spirit. The biggest truth of this world is that we all love ourselves a lot. Our own ego, our likes and dislikes, and our own thoughts are the most precious for us. No matter how humble we look from the outside, from the inside we all live in a self-centered world. When someone meets us who is completely different from us, who opposes our words or tries to change us, our mind immediately raises a wall. We start running away from him. But think, What will happen if someone comes into your life who thinks exactly like you, who listens to the same music you like, whose way of talking? You'll completely melt in front of that person. All your suspicion, all your fear will disappear. You'll feel that finally in this selfish world there's someone who understands your soul. But you don't know that that person is standing in front of you after cleverly wearing the mask of your own soul. This extremely precise and hypnotic strategy is called enter their spirit, that is, entering the other person's soul. This art is the art of working like a chameleon. In it you have to completely forget your own personality for some time. You have to become the mirror of the other person's mind. When you start matching his mood, his preferences, and his energy, you send a signal to his subconscious mind that you are completely safe for him. When he becomes comfortable in front of you, then slowly you can hold his hand and take him in the direction of your own will. If you want to master this hypnotic art, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, the mirroring technique, that is, becoming a mirror yourself. When you meet your target, carefully watch his body language, the speed of his talking, and his gestures. If he talks very slowly and calmly, you also make your voice slow and deep. If he's very energetic and excited, the same vibe should be visible inside you too. This is called mirroring. When our mind sees someone making the same movements as itself, it considers him part of its own group. Second rule, validate their secret passions. Every human being has some hobby or idea that he hides because of the fear of the world. Someone may like watching old films, someone reading strange kinds of books. You have to find that exact hidden passion of his, and when he mentions it, you have to react as if you yourself have been crazy about the same thing for years. He should feel this isn't a coincidence. Rather, the connection between both of you is very deep. Third rule, the silent lead, that is, changing the path after winning trust. This is the most important step. Until the other person is completely trapped in the snake's net, you have to agree with every word of his. You have to color yourself in his color. But the moment his defense system completely breaks, and he gets used to you, then you have to slowly bring out your real personality. Now he's under your control, so he himself will start coloring himself in your color. To understand this mind game, we need to look at a big real-life example from today's social media and influencer marketing. You've seen some gaming and lifestyle creators on the internet who become the favorites of millions of fans overnight. How do they do it? They don't give any knowledge directly. They completely enter the subculture of their target audience. If their target is boys between 16 and 22, they'll speak the language of the same generation. They'll use the same memes that are trending on the internet today, and wear the same kind of clothes. They'll keep the same gaming setup in the background of their videos that is the dream of every middle-class boy. They show their fans that they're also ordinary boys like them who are struggling in their life. The fans feel this creator is their own voice, their own spirit. They start trusting that creator with closed eyes. And when that creator promotes some brand or launches his own expensive product, these fans buy it without thinking. This is nothing but the use of the enter their spirit strategy on a big level. In modern relationships in the age of online dating, this game is also played in a very cunning way. Suppose a boy likes a girl who's very independent, who has a great passion for traveling and vintage photography. If that boy goes straight and says boring things to her, the girl will reject him. So what does that boy do? He studies the girl's Instagram profile very deeply. He sees what kind of quotes the girl shares, which countries she likes. Then he slowly starts changing his own profile. He also starts posting pictures of vintage cameras. He posts about the places the girl wants to go. When they meet for the first time, without thinking she opens all the secrets of her life in front of him. She completely comes under his influence. But this extremely powerful strategy also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you enter the other person's spirit too much, you can lose your own value. You'll start looking like a slave or a yes man who was born only to please the other person. A human being likes charm, but he doesn't like sycophants. That's why you have to set a limit for yourself. The second big danger is that if the other person even slightly suspects that your likes and dislikes were only a show, that you were only acting all this to win his heart, he'll start hating you. He'll feel you've played with his emotions. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of cunning psychological mirroring? Whenever someone comes into your life who seems too much like you, who agrees with every word of yours, and who suddenly starts finding even all your strange hobbies very lovely, become alert immediately. Ask yourself, does this person have any past? Does he have any thoughts of his own? When you ask him deep questions about his own life, his own choices, the chameleon's real color will come out. He'll stop agreeing with everything you say, or he'll get confused. The story of entering their spirit teaches us that to make someone yours, first you have to become like them. When you put your ego aside and try to understand others, you open that door of their heart that no one else could ever open. Now you've won the other person's trust. You've entered his spirit, and all his defensive shields have fallen. But only trust is not enough. Now you have to place something in front of him that makes him lose all control. You have to create a sweet temptation inside him. You have to show him a glimpse of a forbidden world, a world he'll be ready to break all his boundaries for, just to get it. In the next chapter, we will decode the 8th and most intoxicating step of seduction, the one that will completely turn your victim into your slave. Are you ready to know that magical temptation? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 18. Create temptation. We all consider ourselves very civilized and controlled human beings. We think we're very happy living within the boundaries of law, society's rules, and our own morality. But the truth is that inside every human being there is a thirst that never gets quenched. That thirst is to taste the thing that is forbidden, that society calls wrong, that is beyond our reach. In the Bible story it's called the forbidden fruit. Adam and Eve had the entire garden. But their heart went only for that one fruit they were forbidden to eat. This is the basic nature of the human mind. Whatever we're forbidden from, our mind runs toward it first. And using this exact psychology, the seducer plays his most dangerous move. Create temptation. Temptation means desire. This is the point of attraction where the other person becomes ready to break all his understanding, all his rules, and all his limits. Creating temptation doesn't mean you directly give someone a big offer. A real seducer never does that. He doesn't give direct pleasure. He only shows a small glimpse of pleasure. He creates a suspense and fantasy that completely hijacks the other person's mind. When you make the curiosity inside someone bigger than his fear and doubt, that person himself starts running toward your net. If you want to use this intoxicating temptation power in your life and your work, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, identify the deepest weakness. Every human being has some secret desire that he never reveals in front of the world. Someone has the desire to look very rich and royal. Someone has the desire to escape the boredom of his life and go into an adventurous world. Someone has the longing to make his buried sexual fantasy real. You have to find this exact weak point of his with great silence. When you recognize this buried desire of his, you have to present a small trailer of that exact fantasy in front of him. Second rule, keep it vague and mysterious. Keep the promises blurred and mysterious. Never make your talk completely clear. When you tell someone full details, his mind starts calculating. He starts applying logic. You only have to give a hint. A promise that feels very magical and mysterious. The other person should feel that you have something so amazing that can completely change his life, but to get it he'll have to put in a little effort. When you keep the promises incomplete, the other person's imagination itself fills that empty space in a very beautiful way. Third rule, the barrier. Whatever comes easily has no value. When you create temptation, also put a big obstacle or some moral barrier in between. With great love say, this is wrong. We shouldn't do this. Or say, this isn't possible for us because society won't accept it. This prohibition, increases the stubbornness to get that thing 10 times inside the other person. He starts trying like a mad person to break that wall. Billy McFarland had deeply understood today's youth's Instagram culture and their luxury fantasies. He sold the dream of a music festival that was going to happen on a private island in the Bahamas, that once belonged to Pablo Escobar. He released a very mysterious promo video on the internet. In that video there was no detail about which singers would come or what facilities would be there. In the video only the world's biggest supermodels like Kendall Jenner and Bella Hadid were shown doing jet skis and partying in the blue sea. The message of the video was very simple but tempting. A world where only selected and rich people can go. This was the ultimate temptation for today's generation. A very big FOMO, fear of missing out, was born inside them. Young people felt that if they didn't go to this festival, they would miss the biggest adventure of their life. Billy kept this fantasy so vague and expensive that people became ready to spend lakhs of rupees for one ticket. The tickets sold out in just a few hours. The reality was that there was no preparation. There was no island. But the temptation was so strong that people ignored all the warning signals until the last moment, and reached that hell-like island. This was nothing but the dark power of creating temptation that had completely numbed the minds of thousands of intelligent people. In modern relationships in the age of social media, this game is also played on a very large scale. You've seen some secret VIP clubs or influencers' VIP groups on the internet. What do these groups sell? They don't show any direct value. They share half and incomplete clips of their luxury cars, big hotels, and private jets. They say that if you want to become part of this secret community, you'll have to go through a very difficult interview process, or pay a big fee. They keep their availability very limited. Young people feel that some very big secret is hidden inside that group that will change their life overnight. They get trapped in that temptation and blow their entire pocket money or savings on the membership of those groups. But this extremely powerful and dark strategy also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if the temptation you're creating, the fantasy you're showing, you can't give the other person even a little pleasure or value in return, his anger will erupt like a volcano. When a human being's illusion breaks and he feels he's been cheated, he can go to any length to destroy you. Billy McFarland also finally had to breathe the air of jail, because his illusion couldn't stand in front of reality. That's why after temptation you must give a little value. The second danger is that if you put too big a barrier or danger in front of a very simple and timid person, he can get scared and pull back. He can think the risk of getting this thing is too high, and he'll pull his steps back. That's why you have to give the dose of danger very carefully. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of cycle? Whenever you meet some deal, some lifestyle, or some person that looks too magical and perfect, whose promises are very big but very blurred, immediately put a brake on your emotions. Ask yourself, is the greed or FOMO inside me making me blind? When you start demanding hard facts and details hidden behind any fantasy, the intoxication of that temptation disappears into thin air. You come back under your own control. The story of creating temptation teaches us that controlling a human being directly is impossible. But by awakening the greed and curiosity inside him, you can easily make him dance on your fingers. When you show people a small trailer of their dreams, they leave all their boundaries and start running after you to watch the full film. Until now we've completely understood the first phase of selection. You've chosen the right victim. Approached him with great silence. Given mixed signals. Created triangles. Created anxiety inside him. Taught the language of hints. Entered his spirit, and finally trapped him in a very big temptation net. Here the first phase of seduction. Separation ends. Now your victim has completely separated from his old world. He's trapped in the net of your thoughts. But the real game will start now. Now we'll step into phase 2. Led astray. That is, misleading him and creating such a sweet confusion in his mind from where all paths of returning get closed. Are you ready to learn the second and most dangerous phase of seduction? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 19. Keep them in suspense. What comes next? Have you ever thought, why doesn't some web series or film let you sleep night after night? You're tired. Your eyes are heavy. But the moment one episode ends, it writes on the screen, next episode in 5 seconds. And you can't stop yourself. You pick up the remote and start watching the next episode. Why does this happen? Because the end of that episode happened at such a turning point where you didn't know what was going to happen next. your mind couldn't bear that suspense. The biggest weakness of the human mind is this. It doesn't like incompleteness. It has to know the end of every story. And the person or the brand that raises this question in your mind, what will happen after this, you become his slave. This master strategy is called keep them in suspense. What comes next? The moment people find out what you expect from them, or what the next step of your life will be, you lose all your power. People start getting bored of you. They start taking you lightly, because they feel they've completely understood you. The real rule of selection is that you should never become completely predictable. You always have to stay one step ahead. You have to continuously keep your victim in a sweet suspense, where he waits every moment for your next step. If you want to use this power of suspense in your life and your work, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, break the routine pattern. We all unknowingly create a routine. We call at the same time every day, talk in the same way, and go to the same kinds of places on weekends. The other person catches this. If you message him first thing every morning after waking up, suddenly stop doing that for 2 days. If you always remain very quiet, suddenly one day become very excited and funny. This sudden change will switch on the alarm of the other person's mind. He'll start thinking what exactly has changed in your life. Second rule, the art of calculated surprise. Bring sudden big and pleasant changes into your conversations and meetings. Without any reason suddenly give some small gift, or without telling take him to some place he's never gone before. This surprise doesn't need to be very big or expensive. It just needs to be unexpected. When you give people such surprises, they feel an adventure in being with you. They never know what's new going to happen in your next meeting. Third rule, never reveal the full plan. Never tell your work, your life, and your thoughts completely in one go. If you're about to start some big work, only give a small hint of it. In a very mysterious way say, I'm planning something very big, which you'll soon find out about. After that become quiet. When you make your life a mystery, people can't stop talking and thinking about you. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a real-life example of today's biggest entertainment company, Netflix. Whenever Netflix releases some big series like Squid Game or Stranger Things, instead of showing the entire story at once, it often divides it into 2 parts. They end the first part at such a big climax where the main character's life is in danger. After that they make the audience wait 2-3 months for the second part. During this wait a very big balloon of suspense forms in the audience's mind. People start sharing their theories on social media about what will happen next. They continuously talk about that show. This suspense itself makes that show a big hit. Netflix knows that if they finish the entire story in one day, people will watch it and forget. But suspense keeps people connected to that show for months. In the world of business and branding too, a very brilliant example of this suspense strategy can be seen in Carl Pei's tech company Nothing. When Nothing was about to launch its first smartphone, it didn't have a budget like big companies such as Samsung or Apple. They chose a different path. Instead of directly telling the phone's features, they started posting small suspense videos months earlier. In the videos they only showed a small part of the lights glowing at the back of the phone. They never showed the full phone. People of the tech world became completely crazy seeing this suspense. Millions of people on the internet started debating what the design of this phone would be like. The company continuously kept people in suspense, and didn't completely reveal the phone until the day of launch. The result was that without any big advertising, millions of units of that phone got pre-ordered even before the launch. This is the power of suspense that turns any product into a cult. But this game of suspense also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you create too much suspense, the other person can completely get tired. Every human mind has a limit. If he feels that in your life there's only drama and suspense, and never any clarity, he'll get irritated with this attitude of yours. He'll think you're a very unstable and unreliable person, and he'll create distance from you. The second danger is that if the result that comes after the suspense you're creating turns out to be very ordinary or nonsense, people will feel cheated. If you created hype for months and in the end a very boring thing came out, your entire charm will end in 1 second. That's why the surprise that comes at the end of suspense should always be powerful. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of suspense trap? Whenever you feel some brand or some person is playing this game with you, whenever he's deliberately keeping you in suspense to make you take some decision, immediately pull your steps back. Remember that this is a mind game. Calm yourself and look at the facts hidden behind that suspense. When you leave the stubbornness of getting an immediate answer to something, and say "I have no hurry," the other person's entire suspense game fails. You come back under your own control. The story of keeping them in suspense teaches us that the biggest power in the world is in breaking predictability. When people can't guess your next step, they're forced to think about you every moment. Make the book of your life like a suspense thriller, that the more people read it, the more their curiosity increases. Now you've learned how to put the other person into a deep suspense. He's waiting for your next step. But only silence will not work. Now you have to weave such a magical net of words that completely numbs his mind. You have to say things that directly strike his insecurities, and take him away from the power of thinking and understanding. In the next chapter, we will decode the 10th and most dangerous step of selection, the one that will bring your victim under control with the dark power of words. Are you ready to learn that magical language? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 20. Use the demonic power of words to sow confusion. Have you ever thought, how do some people, without doing anything special, bring big crowds under their control just with their words? When they speak, every single word of theirs directly touches the heart. They don't have any magic wand. But there's such a hypnotism in their words that completely zeroes the other person's power of thinking and understanding. A very big weakness of the human mind is this. We always want to hear what makes us feel good. When someone praises us, expresses our sorrows in words, or shows us big dreams, our logical mind stops working. And taking advantage of this exact weakness, the seducer uses that power of words that Robert Greene called the demonic power of words. Words aren't only a medium to transfer information. When you use the right words at the right time in the right tone, you create a sweet confusion in the other person's mind. He drowns so deep in the intoxication of your words that he can't understand the difference between reality and fantasy. He can't sense your intentions, because he's lost in the net of your words. If you want to bring this hypnotic power of words into your life and your conversation, understand its 3 biggest secrets. First rule, the art of loaded language, that is, using words filled with emotions. Never talk in too flat or direct words. Add such words into your conversation that directly trigger the other person's emotional state. For example, instead of only saying "you look very good," say, "In your presence there's a different kind of peace, as if time has stopped." When you present even ordinary things in a deep, romantic, and magical tone, the other person's mind starts getting attracted to that vibe. Second rule, ambiguity in vague promises, that is, blurred promises. Never give hard facts and clear details in your talk. Your talk should be such that they sound very big and beautiful, but no unclear meaning comes out of them. When you say to the other person that our connection is far above the rules of this world, it sounds very big. But it has no practical meaning. This blurriness gives the other person the chance to create his own fantasy. He starts extracting the meaning of your words according to his own will. Third rule, alternate praise and insecurity, that is, the game of praise and doubt. Through words take the other person's ego to the sky, and then suddenly say such a word or sentence that forces him to doubt himself. This is called the push and pull of words. One moment make him feel that he's very special, and the very next moment, in a very soft way, mention some lack of his. This up and down will completely tire his mind. He'll remain tangled in the net of your words. To understand this dark and powerful psychology, we need to look at a very big real-life example from today's startup and business world. We're talking about Adam Neumann, the founder of WeWork. Adam Neumann didn't have any unique or new business idea. He was only renting out office space, which is a very ordinary real estate business. But his real weapon was his way of talking. He covered his ordinary work with such a magical net of words that even big investors got hypnotized. Adam never said that he was only renting desks and chairs. He used big heavy words, that is, buzzwords. He said he was elevating the consciousness of the world and changing the way of working forever. He sold the fantasy of a community where people wouldn't just work, but live a new life. There was so much power and intoxication in his words that big investors like SoftBank of Japan put billions of dollars into his company, without looking that the company was continuously running in losses. Adam created such an illusion with his talks that even the minds of the world's most intelligent businessmen had been completely numbed. This is a classic business example of the demonic power of words. In modern relationships in the age of social media, this game is also played on a very large scale. In today's time, love bombing is one form of this exact strategy. Some very cunning and toxic partners use big words right at the beginning of the relationship. In the very first week they'll say, "You're my soulmate. Without you my life has no existence." Or "I feel our relationship is from a past life." Hearing this, the other person becomes emotionally very weak. All his critical barrier falls. He feels he's got the purest love of the world. But the moment he completely gets trapped in this net, that same partner changes his words. He slowly starts using such words that bring down the other person's self-confidence. He says that you're too insecure, or that because of your attitude our relationship is going bad. That person falls into confusion. He starts longing to get back the intoxication of those early sweet words, and becomes ready to accept every right and wrong thing of that partner. But this dangerous game of words also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you talk too much in big and dramatic words, the other person will start seeing you as a dramatic fake or a fraud. Especially today's young generation catches artificial talks very quickly. If there's no real emotion or action behind your words, your magic will fade very quickly. The second danger is that if you talk like this in front of a very practical and logical person, he'll make fun of your words. He'll ask you hard questions, and break your illusion in 1 second. That's why this game of words only works on those who are emotionally vulnerable. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of word trap? Whenever someone starts talking very big things to you too quickly, whenever he comes into your life and starts using very sweet and deep words, immediately switch on the alarm of your mind. Don't listen to his words. Look at his actions. Remember that speaking is very easy, but living up to it is very difficult. Ask yourself, do this person's actions match his words? When you remove the noise of sweet talks and start looking at hard facts, no one can trap you in the net of his words. The story of the demonic power of words teaches us that the human mind works through the ears. When you learn to make people hear what their heart is longing to hear, you get the key to their mind. Carve your words. Make them a velvet shield, and with great silence rule the hearts of the world. Now you've learned how to confuse the other person with the net of words. Are you ready to know that magical strategy? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 21. Pay attention to detail. Most people think that to win someone's heart you have to take big dramatic steps. They think giving expensive gifts, expressing love in front of everyone, or roaming in big cars is the real way of seduction. But this is a very big mistake. These big and showy works actually make the other person alert. They feel you're trying too hard, or you're trying to buy them. There's a kind of pressure in big gestures that awakens the defensive nature of a human being. Real seduction works with great silence, in a very fine way. It isn't hidden in big explosions, but in those small details that ordinary people often ignore. When you pay attention to those small things of a person that even his close ones can't see, you directly hit his subconscious mind. He feels you're not just looking at him, but you're observing him deeply. The attention given to these small details convinces the other person that your attraction is completely real. This art works without any noise, and completely disarms the victim. If you want to use this fine art in your life, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, the invisible observation. When you're with your target, look at those habits of his that he does unknowingly. How he moves his hands when he's nervous. How the corner of his eyes changes when he's happy. Or what kind of words he uses again and again during conversation. Note these small things in your mind. Later, very casually mention these things in your conversation. When you say "I know," when you get excited you start talking very fast, the other person will get a strange shock. He'll feel there's someone who feels him with such delicacy. Second rule, personalized gifting, that is, customized gifts. Stop giving expensive and branded gifts. Instead, give very small, cheap, but extremely personalized gifts. Suppose months ago in a very casual conversation your target had mentioned that he liked a special cartoon a lot in childhood. If you find and gift him a small keychain of that cartoon, its value will be more than any iPhone. This gift shows that you had listened to every single word of his with great attention. It touches the softest corner of his heart. Third rule, silent care, that is, helping without telling. When the other person is in some small difficulty, like some small work of his is stuck, or he needs some special thing, without any big drama, with great silence, help him. After helping, don't praise yourself, and don't make it seem that you've done any favor on him. This quiet care of yours will create a very sweet and reliable image of you in the other person's mind. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a real-life example of today's biggest star of the music industry, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's fans, that is, Swifties, are completely crazy for her. They're not only crazy about her songs, they consider Taylor like their family. Why is this? Because Taylor Swift is the ultimate master of paying attention to detail. Taylor herself tracks her fans' social media accounts. She leaves very personal comments on fans' posts. During Christmas, which her fans call Swiftmas, Taylor reads the small mentions her fans make on social media, packs gifts for them with her own hands, and sends them to their homes. Suppose some fan had once written that he feels very lonely because of his cat. Then Taylor sends him a customized sweater with a cat design. Seeing this, the fan starts crying, and becomes Taylor's loyal forever. Taylor knows that the connection that can't be made with crores of rupees of advertising is made with a small customized gift. She makes her fans feel that they're not part of the crowd, but they're very special for Taylor. In modern relationships and the age of dating too, this game works in a very fine way. The most charming people on social media never talk big things. They go to their partner's profile and carefully look at very old and hidden posts. Suppose they find out that the partner likes a special kind of vintage music. In the next meeting, very casually, they play that exact music in the car. The partner remains shocked. He feels how much our preferences match. He starts understanding it as a coincidence, while this was a very carefully thought out detailing. In the same way, if during conversation the partner had mentioned some small illness or trouble, the next morning without asking, sending a small customized get well soon message, or getting his favorite food delivered to his office, these small details completely melt the walls of the other person's heart. But this fine game also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you start paying too much attention to details, you start looking like a stalker. If you make the other person feel that you're watching every single movement of his 24 hours a day, he'll get scared. He'll feel you're a very obsessive and crazy person, and he'll create distance from you for his own safety. Attention should always look very natural and relaxed, not like spying. The second danger is that if this care of yours is only an act, and from the inside you're a very selfish person, with time you'll stop paying attention to these small details. The moment the other person sees that this behavior of yours has changed, his illusion will break very bad. Whenever he starts ordering the food of your choice, starts wearing the same clothes you like. Keep your eyes open. Ask yourself, does this person truly care about me, or is he only collecting data so he can emotionally control me? When you start taking this extra care of someone in a very normal way, and don't get too emotional, this game of his can't work on you. The story of paying attention to detail teaches us that big wars are always won with small moves. When you make people feel that they're important for you. When you listen even to their unspoken words, you get that corner of their heart where no one else could ever reach. Now you've learned how to go very close to the other person's life. He's gotten used to this sweet and caring style of yours. But only being close is not enough. Now you have to make your presence like a poem. You have to create such a magical atmosphere in front of him that when you're not with him, the entire world starts looking dull to him. In the next chapter, we will decode the 12th and most beautiful step of seduction, the one that will turn your presence into an addiction. Are you ready to step into that magical poetic world? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 22. Poeticize your presence. We all live in a very colorless world made of concrete. Around us is the same routine, the same boring work, and the same bitter realities. When we step out of our house, we only see stress, competition, and responsibilities. There's a great lack of fantasy and poetry in our life. From the inside we long for some experience that lifts us from this dull world and takes us to some beautiful, magical, and dreamlike place. In the person who turns our presence into a beautiful poetry, we come under his control. This magical art is called poeticize your presence. Making your presence poetic doesn't mean you start writing poetry or start composing verses. It means presenting your entire image, your conversation, and your way of living like an art. You don't have to look like an ordinary human being in front of your victim. You have to present yourself like a symbol that awakens the most beautiful dreams of his heart. When you come in front of someone, there should be a different fragrance in the atmosphere, a different music, and a different energy. Your absence should make the other person long very badly. He should feel that without you his life has become colorless again. If you want to bring this magical presence into your personality, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, the art of association. Whenever you spend some special moment with your target, connect some special object, some special fragrance, or some special music with it. For example, whenever you meet him, always use a special kind of perfume. Or when you're together, some special song should keep playing in the background again and again. Later, when you're not with him and he suddenly feels that same fragrance or hears that song, his mind will immediately start running toward you. He'll get trapped in the net of your memories. Second rule, poetic absence, that is, mysterious distance. Never remain available forever. When your target spends an extremely beautiful and magical evening with you. When he's at the peak of attraction, with great grace pull yourself a little back. Disappear for a few days. Let him feel your lack. When you're distant, the other person's mind starts thinking big stories about you. He starts understanding even your ordinary qualities as magical. Your absence itself makes your image poetic. Third rule, elevate the ordinary, that is, making the ordinary extraordinary. When you meet him, don't go on very normal dates. Give even simple things like drinking tea or coffee a unique touch. Go to some hidden place where there's no noise of the city, or at night just walk on some empty street. When you turn even ordinary moments into a deep and romantic experience, the other person starts feeling a different kind of joy in being with you. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a real-life example of today's biggest luxury car brands, especially Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce doesn't just sell a car. It completely poeticizes its presence. Their advertisement never talks about the mileage of the car or the features of the engine. They sell a fantasy. Inside their cars, thousands of small fiber optic lights are fixed on the ceiling that shine exactly like real stars at night. They call it the Starlight Headliner. When a person sits inside that car, he gets cut off from the entire world. He feels he's come into some other galaxy. Rolls-Royce keeps its presence so poetic and out of reach that even the richest people remain ready to wait years and years to get one of its cars. They've lifted themselves from just a car and made themselves the biggest symbol of luxury and status. In today's modern pop culture too, we get a very big example of this in the form of the singer The Weeknd, that is, Abel Tesfaye. The Weeknd's entire music career and his personal image is a perfect example of poetic presence. His songs, his dark and vintage visual style, and the dark fantasies of his music videos attract people a lot. He gives very few public appearances, and often comes in front with bandages on his face or in some dark character. His fans don't see him as a normal pop star. They worship him like a mysterious and sad lover who's become the voice of the loneliness of their nights and their buried pain. He's made himself a mystery that always keeps shining with the magic of distance. But this poetic image also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is the reality check. You can't live like a poem 24 hours a day. You're also a hard-working human being who also has the same ordinary and useless problems. If your victim comes too close to you, and he sees your everyday anger, your insecurity, or your dirty habits, his illusion breaks. The moment people find out that you're not an angel but a very ordinary human being, their attraction immediately turns into hatred. The second danger is that to maintain this image you have to spend a lot of energy. You continuously have to keep a control over yourself. This lifestyle can completely destroy your personal peace of mind. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of magical and hypnotic presence? Whenever you find yourself getting lost in a dream world in someone's presence, whenever you feel that being with someone is ending all your logic, immediately bring yourself to the ground of reality. Remember that that person is also an ordinary human being. Behind this magical presence of his there is a very big hard work and planning. When you start looking at the hard facts hidden behind that charm, his magic will start fading. The story of poeticizing your presence teaches us that if you want to leave a deep impression in the world, don't become ordinary. Add a little drama, a little mystery, and a little art into your image. When you take people out of their colorless life and make them tour your beautiful world, they become crazy about you forever. Until now you've completely controlled the other person's heart and mind. You've become a poem for him. But the climax of the game is still left. Now you have to play your biggest move. You have to use your weaknesses, your vulnerability, as a weapon, so that the other person comes close to you with all his strength. In the next chapter, we will decode the 13th and most surprising step of seduction, the one that will completely disarm your victim with the dark power of vulnerability. Are you ready to know that next strategy? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 23. Disarm through strategic weakness and vulnerability. When someone comes in front of you looking too perfect, what does your mind react? When someone looks very rich, very clever, very beautiful, and expert in every work, our subconscious mind immediately becomes alert. We feel this person is hiding something from us. We start suspecting his intentions. Our defense mechanism raises a strong wall. A human being is afraid of perfection, because perfection is scary. But think, what if that same person who looks perfect suddenly stumbles in front of you? He confesses some big weakness of his in front of you, or with tears in his eyes places his vulnerability in front of you. All your walls will collapse in 1 second. All your suspicion will disappear. Your mind will completely relax, because now you don't feel any threat from that person. You'll feel that he's also a broken, incomplete human being just like you. This biggest psychological weapon is called disarm through strategic weakness and vulnerability. That is, when you show your weakness in front of someone, you make him feel above you. His ego becomes calm. He starts feeling pity for you, and pity is the first and strongest path of attraction. When people start thinking of protecting you, they unknowingly come under your control. If you want to use this fine and magical art in your life, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, the selective flaw, that is, selective weakness. You don't have to place every weakness of yours in front of the world. If you show yourself completely broken and crying, people will run away from you, because no one wants to connect with a weak person. You have to choose a weakness that doesn't damage your main strength. For example, if you're a very big business leader, you can show that you're very shy in social life, or that you feel a little fear speaking in front of a very big crowd. This weakness looks very innocent, and doesn't damage your big image either. Second rule, the confession of mistake. When you make some mistake, instead of hiding it or arguing about it, accept it in a very direct and true way. Lowering your eyes, say, "I made a very big mistake." When you accept your mistake without any excuse, the other person's anger immediately becomes calm. Instead of scolding you, he starts consoling you. Third rule, let them rescue you. That is, give them the chance to help you. A very big habit of the human mind is this. When we help someone, we emotionally invest in that person. If you want to make someone crazy about you, ask him for some small help. With great innocence say, "I'm very weak in this work. Can you help me?" When the other person helps you, he'll feel very big about himself. He'll become crazy about your simplicity. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a very big real-life example from today's celebrity and branding world. We're talking about global pop star and business tycoon Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez is one of the most loved and followed personalities in the world among today's generation. The biggest secret of this unbelievable popularity of hers is her vulnerability. Selena never presented herself as a perfect star without any lack. With great bravery and openness, she talked to the world about her mental and physical illnesses, like lupus and bipolar disorder. On her social media, she shared photos of her swollen face without makeup, and while crying expressed her pain. Seeing this, the hearts of her crores of fans melted. Fans felt that Selena isn't a star living out of reach, but a common girl who suffers pain just like them. This vulnerability created such a protective shield around Selena that whenever someone attacks her on social media, her crores of fans themselves come forward and start fighting for her. On the strength of this exact emotional connection, her cosmetic brand Rare Beauty has today become one of the biggest brands in the world. Selena made her weakness the biggest weapon of the world. This is the ultimate example of strategic vulnerability. In modern relationships, in the age of dating too, this game is played in a very cunning way. You've seen that some very clever people use the sorrows of their past to play the victim card. Right at the beginning of the relationship, they narrate the stories of their painful childhood, their cheating ex-partner, or their old struggles with great emotion. The other person melts hearing this. He feels that life has done very wrong with this innocent person. A desire to become a messiah awakens inside him. He decides that he'll give this person every happiness of the world, and will never let him cry. In this process, that partner starts bearing every right and wrong thing of that manipulator. He starts tolerating his tantrums. Unknowingly, he's completely trapped in the net of that strategic weakness. But this dangerous game also carries very big risks. The biggest danger is that if your weakness is too big or cheap, people will stop respecting you. If you keep crying all the time, keep running from your responsibilities, and show yourself completely helpless, people will start seeing you as a burden. They'll hesitate to stay with you, because no one wants to spend his life with a person who always cries. The second danger is that if people even slightly suspect that your vulnerability is only a drama, that you are only acting of crying to play with their emotions, they'll start hating you. Your image will become that of an extremely cheap manipulator. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of emotional trap? Whenever someone displays his vulnerability too much in front of you, whenever in every meeting he tries to get sympathy from you by narrating the stories of his sorrows, immediately switch on your logical mind. Ask yourself, is this person truly troubled, or is he trying to control me by awakening the healer complex inside me? When instead of getting carried away in emotions you start looking at his actions with a hard perspective, this game of his will fail. The story of disarming through strategic weakness teaches us that real strength is never always in raising the sword, but sometimes in putting your sword down. When you learn to accept your weaknesses, you become invincible in front of the world. Because the person who himself accepts his lacks with a smile, no one else can ever put him down. Now you've learned how to bring down all the defensive shields of the other person. He's completely disarmed in front of you. But to take the game to its final destination, now you have to play one more big move. Now you have to completely erase the boundary between fantasy and reality. You have to raise such a complete illusion, a palace of confusion, in front of him that he never even wants to return to his real world. In the next chapter, we will decode the 14th and most magical step of seduction, the one that will weave such a net for your victim from which coming out will be impossible. Are you ready to step into that magical world? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 24. Confused Desire and Reality. The Perfect Illusion. Reality is very bitter, boring, and ruthless. In this world, every human being feels the lack. We all want to run away from the truth. We want to live in a world where there's no sorrow, where everything is perfect, and where every buried desire of ours can be fulfilled. This is the basic nature of a human being. If you give him the chance to choose between the truth and an extremely beautiful lie, he'll happily choose that beautiful lie. He himself wants to be fooled, provided that illusion is so perfect that his heart is forced to believe it as truth. This magical and dark art is called confused desire and reality, the perfect illusion. When you raise such an illusion in front of someone that directly matches his deepest desires, that person loses all his logic. He gets so lost in the palace of that illusion that he doesn't even understand where reality ended and where the dream began. He prefers to live in this net of yours with his own wool, because the world you've created is 1,000 times better than his colorless reality. If you want to master this power of creating illusion, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, identify the escape fantasy, that is, recognize the desire to escape. You have to know which part of his life your target hates the most. Is he bored of his work? Is he troubled by the indifference of his partner? Or does he feel he has no social status? Once you know that bitter reality of his, you have to open a gateway of a fake world in front of him where he can feel free from all these things. Second rule, stage the environment, that is, design the atmosphere. Delusion is never created only with talks. For this you have to prepare a complete theater. The place of your meeting, the music there, the lighting there, and your own body language, everything together should create such an atmosphere that looks like a scene from a film. When the visuals and vibe are so perfect, the other person's mind stops asking hard questions. Third rule, banish the ordinary, that is, keep ordinary things out. When you're with your target in that illusion world, never mention the boring problems of the real world, like lack of money, tension of job, or everyday works. Don't let that magical bubble break. As long as he's with you, he should remain only and only part of that fantasy. To understand this extremely clever psychology, we need to look at a very big real-life example from today's theme park and live entertainment industry. We're talking about Disneyland. Disneyland isn't just an amusement park. It's the biggest illusion merchant of this world, that is, the seller of confusion. After going inside Disneyland, you won't see even a single thing of the outside world. There's no clock there. No news channel runs, and you won't see any road or cars either. The employees there are called cast members who remain in their characters 24 hours. In every street a special kind of sweet fragrance is released in the air, and a very slow magical music keeps playing in the background. Disneyland has created such a perfect illusion that even adult people start crying like children after going there. They forget all their responsibilities, and spend their entire savings to buy the most expensive tickets and merchandise. They know that Mickey Mouse isn't real. But they drown so deep in the intoxication of that illusion that the fake world of Disneyland starts looking more real to them than their real life. In today's modern social media and the age of dating too, this game is played on a very large scale. You've seen some luxury travel influencers on the internet who actually aren't very rich. They only create a very big fake identity on the strength of this illusion. They rent luxury cars for one day. They pay only for photo shoots inside private jets, and go to the lobby of 5-star hotels and show as if they're living there. When some innocent investor or some rich partner looks at this profile of theirs, he gets completely hypnotized. He feels this person lives a very royal and classic life. He becomes desperate to connect with that influencer, to put money in his business, or to come into a relationship with him. By the time that partner finds out that all this was only a rented act, he's already dedicated a very big wealth and emotions to that illusion. This is called confusing reality and desire with each other. But this extremely powerful and dark strategy also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that the existence of illusion is like a balloon of air. A small needle of reality can also completely destroy it. If you can't maintain that illusion for a very long time, and the other person suddenly sees your real poverty, your real anger, or your lacks, he suffers a very big shock. When a human being's this dream breaks, he considers himself a very big fool, and his love immediately turns into the fire of hatred. He can go to any length to take revenge from you. The second danger is that to maintain this illusion you continuously have to lie. To hide one lie you have to invent 100 new lies. This mental exercise will completely tire you from the inside. You'll always live in this fear that your real face shouldn't come in front of the world. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of magical illusion trap? Whenever you meet some deal, some life, or some person that looks too perfect, whose life looks as beautiful as a film, immediately pull your steps back. Keeping your emotions aside, check hard facts and credibility. Search the past of that person. Know about his bank statements or his real background. When you remove the curtain of illusion and start asking the questions of bitter reality, when you take people out of their colorless life and make them part of a beautiful dream, they put their freedom at your feet with their own will. Now you've raised such a perfect illusion for the other person from where there's no path for him to come out. He's become a prisoner of the world you've created. But the biggest and last strike of the game is still left. To completely bring him under your control, now you have to completely separate him from his friends, his family, and his social circle. You have to take him to such a place where he has no other human being to talk to except you. In the next chapter, we will decode the 15th and most dangerous step of seduction, the one that will completely isolate your victim. Are you ready to know that dark isolation strategy? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 25. Isolate the victim. A lonely human being is the weakest creature of this world. When we're among our friends, our family, and our social circle, we have a shield. That shield is the reality check. Whenever we start going crazy in someone's love, or start going on some wrong path, our own people stop us. They show us the mirror and say, "Come to your senses. You're getting carried away." This outer world keeps our mind balanced. But think, what will happen if this shield is removed from you? What will happen if no other human being remains in your life who can tell you the difference between right and wrong? You'll become completely helpless. All your logic will end, and you'll completely start dancing to the signals of that person who's the only one left with you. This extremely dark and most effective strategy is called isolate the victim. That is, completely separating your victim from the entire world. This is the most critical point of the second phase of seduction. As long as your victim remains in his old atmosphere, he won't completely come under your control. His friends will fill his ears. His family will keep an eye on him. You have to take him with great cleverness into such an emotional and physical isolation where he has no other human being to talk to take advice from, except you. When you completely make someone alone, he becomes dependent only on you for every small and big need, for his mental peace. If you want to understand this dark psychology, carefully look at its 3 most cunning rules. First rule, the silent wedge, that is, creating a crack. You never have to fight directly with the other person's friends or family. If you say that your friend is very bad, your target will become defensive. You have to sow the seed of suspicion in a very soft way. During conversation very casually say, "I feel that friend is a little jealous of your success." Or say, "Your family controls you a lot. They don't understand your real value." These small comments weave a big net of suspicion toward his own people in the other person's mind. He slowly himself starts creating distance from his people. Second rule, geographical and environmental shift, that is, changing the place. Take your victim away from his everyday atmosphere. Take him on a weekend trip to some place where no one knows him. Or busy him in some new city, some new activity. When a human being comes out of his old and familiar atmosphere, he feels very unsafe from the inside. In this new atmosphere he comes even closer to you to save himself. You yourself become his entire world. Third rule, the you and me against the world narrative. completely fit this thing into the other person's mind that in this selfish world only both of you are true. The rest of the entire world is selfish and wants to separate both of you. When you present your relationship like a secret mission, the other person starts feeling a very deep emotional and almost obsessive connection with you. He becomes ready to go to any length for you. To understand this extremely dark and hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a real-life example of the most infamous and dangerous cults in history. We're talking about the NXIVM cult, which was run by Keith Raniere. Keith Raniere wasn't a very big goon or criminal. He was only a very cunning seducer. He made big businessmen, Hollywood actresses, and youth of rich houses his slaves. His first and biggest weapon was isolation. He called his followers for 5-day-long and exhausting seminars to a very quiet and deserted place far from the city. There they weren't allowed to use their phones, and they couldn't talk to their family. Keith continuously didn't let them sleep for many hours, so that their mind completely got tired. When they got cut off from their family, and their mind stopped working, then Keith planted his ideas in their subconscious mind. They dedicated all their wealth, their freedom. This is the dark power of isolation that brings even big, intelligent, and rich people under control like an animal. In modern relationships in the age of online dating too, this game is played in a very silent way. The most dangerous manipulators on social media use this exact isolation. They never fight. They say with great love, "I like spending time alone with you a lot. Can we not meet our friends this weekend, and just stay with each other?" Slowly this demand starts increasing. They start stopping the partner from going to every social gathering where their friends are. They check the partner's phone, and with great cleverness make him feel guilty for talking to his friends or girlfriends. The partner starts feeling that his lover loves him so much that he can't share him with anyone else. But the reality is that that manipulator is very quietly ending the partner's social life. When all the friends of the partner leave him, then he becomes completely dependent on the mercy of that manipulator. Now even if he wants, he can't come out of that relationship, because in the outer world his existence itself isn't left. But this extremely dangerous and dark strategy also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you try to isolate your victim too quickly or too forcefully, he'll get scared. He'll feel that you want to lock him in a cage. A human being loves his freedom a lot. If he even slightly feels of being imprisoned, he'll start fighting against you, and will run away from you forever. The process of isolation should be so slow and velvet that the other person feels he's becoming alone with his own will. The second danger is that when you completely isolate someone, that person can become mentally very unstable. He becomes dependent only on you 24 hours a day, which puts a very big mental pressure on you. He starts trying to control every part of your life, because he has no one else except you. In this way you yourself become a prisoner of the net you've created. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of dark and dangerous isolation trap? Whenever someone comes into your life who, with very sweet words, tries to take you away from your friends, your family, or your old hobbies, become alert immediately. Remember that your social support system is your biggest strength. Never leave your years-old relationships for any one person. When you stay in regular touch with your friends, and live your life in a balanced way, no seducer can make complete control over you. The story of isolating the victim teaches us that if you want to completely change someone, first cut his roots. When a person gets separated from his old atmosphere, he becomes like a blank slate on which you can write the story of your own will. Now you've completely separated your victim from the entire world. He's completely alone in this beautiful palace of illusion of yours. Now he has no path to go back. But the climax of the game is still left. Now the time has come to put him through the last and biggest test of attraction. Now you have to give such a proof of your loyalty and your strength that all his remaining doubt also disappears into thin air. In the next chapter, we will decode the 16th and biggest step of seduction, the one that will completely make your victim crazy about you. Are you ready to pass that biggest examination? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Part 2. The seductive process. Phase 3. The precipice. Deepening the effect through extreme measures. Chapter 26. Prove yourself. Words are very cheap. Anyone can say that he can give his life for you. Anyone can make big promises. But our mind is very clever. After the initial attraction, when the intoxication of your victim starts decreasing a little, doubts start coming into his mind. He starts asking himself questions. Is all this true? Does this person really love me as much as he shows? Or is this only a game? This is that delicate turning point where many people lose. They talk even more to prove their words, which decreases their charm even more. But a real master knows how to end this doubt forever. You have to stop talking. You have to prove yourself. You have to take such an action that blows away all the doubts of the other person in one stroke. This strategy is called prove yourself. This is the biggest and last path of winning anyone's trust in this world. Doing such a work in which your own loss is happening, but the other person's benefit is happening. And if you want to master this strategy, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, the self-sacrifice, that is, causing your own loss. When your victim needs you the most, or when he's trapped in some big trouble, without thinking jump to help him. Even if for this you have to leave some important work of yours, or take some big loss of yours. This loss itself will become your biggest strength. When the other person sees that you've sacrificed some precious thing of yours for him, he'll start considering himself your debtor. Second rule, a bold action, that is, a courageous step. Never try to prove yourself with small works. The action should be such that is very big and dramatic. For example, going against everyone in any crowd and supporting your target, or taking the blame on yourself to save his respect. This drama creates an image of a messiah for you in the other person's heart. Third rule, don't ask for return. That is, don't show the hope of exchange. When you make such a big sacrifice, never make it seem that you've done any favor on him. Remain very quiet and casual, as if this was a very normal thing for you. When you don't beat the drum of your sacrifice, your value increases 10 times more in the other person's eyes. He starts feeling guilty from the inside, and becomes ready to do anything to make you happy. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a very brilliant real-life example from today's startup and business world. Suppose there's a young and talented founder who's started a new AI startup. Suddenly a very big legal case comes on his company. His company reaches the verge of closing. All his big investors and partners leave him and run away. The media starts defaming him. He's standing completely alone. In such a difficult time, a very big and rich investor who had been wanting to partner with that founder for a long time comes forward. That investor doesn't only help with money. He publicly calls a press conference, and standing with that young founder says, "I have complete trust in this founder, and I'll myself bear the entire expense of his fight." That investor puts his own reputation at stake. Seeing this, tears come into the eyes of that founder. All his doubt ends. He starts thinking, when the entire world was against me, only this one person stood with me. After the case ends, that founder happily hands over the control of his company into the hands of that investor. That investor knew that only by talking he could never bring that founder under control. But the bold decision taken at the time of crisis made him the owner of that founder's soul. In modern relationships too, this game is played in a very fine way. Some cunning seducers deliberately wait for some crisis, or themselves create a small drama. Suppose your target's car breaks down in the middle of the road at night. She's very troubled. You leave some very important business dinner of yours in the middle, and without any complaint, getting wet in the rain, reach her. When she sees you in this condition, all her defense system falls. She feels that even her own friends probably wouldn't do what you've done. This one single action of yours proves more powerful than years of your promises. She gets bound in your net forever. But this prove yourself strategy also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if your action looks too fake or artificial, the game will completely get spoiled. Today's generation is very clever. If they even slightly suspect that you deliberately created this situation so you could become the hero, they'll start hating you. The second danger is that if the sacrifice you're making is very small or meaningless, it will have no impact. For example, only saying that I spoiled my sleep for you looks very childish. Your sacrifice should truly be big and meaningful. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of cycle? Whenever someone comes into your life and claims to make a very big sacrifice for you, whenever he starts sacrificing his big things for you, don't get emotional immediately. Ask yourself, in exchange for this sacrifice, what does he want from me? Is he very quietly putting a burden of guilt on my mind so that I can never refuse any talk of his? When you start looking at others' sacrifices with a hard and logical perspective, this hypnotism of theirs ends over you. The story of Prove Yourself teaches us that trust never comes free. It has to be bought. When you show the courage of taking a big risk for others, you open that door of their heart where no one else could ever even knock. Now you've raised the strongest wall of trust in your victim's heart. He started trusting your love and your loyalty with closed eyes. But the thrill of the game is about to increase even more. Now you have to take him on a tour of the memories of that childhood where his most innocent and carefree form lives. You have to take his mind on a regression, that is, a journey of old memories. In the next chapter, we will decode the 17th and deepest step of seduction, the one that will blow your victim's mind. Are you ready to walk on that Part 2. The seductive process. Phase 3. The precipice. Deepening the effect through extreme measures. Chapter 27. Affect a regression. Becoming an adult is the biggest deception of this world. When we're small, we dream of growing up. We feel that after growing up we'll get freedom. We'll live according to our own will. But the moment we grow up, reality comes in front of us. Responsibilities, the tension of paying bills, the pressure of society, and the act of remaining a serious and mature person all the time. Under this strict discipline, that innocent childhood of ours gets lost somewhere. Every human being is tired from the inside. He longs for that time when no one judged him. When he got love without any condition, and when the responsibility of his safety was of someone else. And the person who takes us back into the innocence and peace of that lost childhood of ours, we completely surrender in front of him. This magical psychological technique is called affect a regression, that is, taking on a journey of old memories. Regression means pushing a person's mind back into that old period of his life where his defense mechanism was very weak. When you awaken the patterns of someone's childhood, he stops thinking like an adult. In front of you he becomes vulnerable like a child. He starts trusting you in the same way he used to trust his parents in childhood. This is the deepest and most intoxicating level of attraction, because here you directly hit the oldest emotional anchors of the other person's subconscious mind. If you want to master this hypnotic art, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, triggered sensory nostalgia, that is, awakening the memories of the senses. The memories of our childhood are buried very deep in our mind. Some special fragrance, some old song, some special game, or some taste of childhood suddenly reminds us of that period. You have to find that sweet period of your target's life. During conversation, very casually dig his childhood memories. When you find out which food he liked in childhood, or which cartoon he used to watch, with great silence bring those things back into his life. When he suddenly faces those things, his mind will immediately go into that relaxed and safe zone. Second rule, play the caregiver role, that is, caring like parents. Inside every human being there's a desire that someone comes who scolds him too, cares for him too, and makes him feel completely safe. When your target is in some big problem, or is very tired, don't talk very intellectual things in front of him. Treat him like a child. With great love listen to his talk. Console him, and make him feel that as long as you're with him, he doesn't need to worry about anything. This parental vibe melts all the logical barriers of the other person. Third rule, let them play the child, that is, give them the chance to be carefree. In adult life we always have to look perfect and serious. In front of your target create such an atmosphere where he can do mad-like acts. Can laugh openly without any fear, and can fulfill his childish desires. When you give someone the freedom to do childhood without judgment, he feels such a deep connection with you that he doesn't feel with anyone else in the entire world. To understand this deep and magical psychology, we need to look at a very big real-life example from today's entertainment and tech industry. We're talking about nostalgia marketing. You've seen that in today's time some big gaming companies like Nintendo or Sony are launching their 20 to 30-year-old games and consoles in a new avatar. They're bringing back Super Mario or old retro games. Why is this happening? Because today's young professionals between 24 and 30 are very stressed with their jobs and life. When they see the visuals of these games of their childhood, their mind immediately goes into that relaxed time when they had no tension except school homework. They drown so deep in the intoxication of that nostalgia that they don't think even for a second to spend thousands of rupees on these old games and merchandise. Companies know very well that selling a new product is difficult. But selling the memories of childhood is the easiest work in the world. This is the business power of regression that very easily opens people's wallets. In modern relationships in the age of dating too, this game is played in a very sweet and silent way. Suppose your partner is a manager in a very big corporate company. She remains in the pressure of work day and night. She always remains serious and quiet. If you take her to some expensive and fancy restaurant, even there she'll have to maintain that same formal behavior. But if you plan a completely different date, you take her to such a deserted park where many swings are fixed. You bring her favorite childhood snacks, and at night without any noise ask her to swing. In the beginning she may feel shy, but the moment she starts swinging, she'll forget all her corporate tension. She'll start laughing like children, and will hold your hand very tightly. She'll feel that in the entire world only you can see that innocent child. Remember that you're an adult, and you have to take the decisions of your life yourself. When you stop yourself from completely drowning in someone's comfort zone, and keep your logical mind on, this magic of his regression can't work on you. The story of affecting a regression teaches us that no matter how big a human being becomes, the child inside him never dies. He always wants to return to the lap of that childhood. When you give someone back that lost piece of his childhood, he happily dedicates his entire freedom to your name. Now you've completely disarmed your victim. In front of you he's become vulnerable like a child, and has started trusting you with closed eyes. But to take the game further, now you have to pull him outside the boundaries of society. Now you have to awaken those buried and forbidden desires inside him that society calls wrong. You have to show him the path of that forbidden, that is, transgressive and taboo world. In the next chapter, we will decode the 18th and most thrilling step of seduction, the one that will completely make your victim crazy about you. Are you ready to step into that dark and exciting world? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 28. Stir up the transgressive and taboo. We all walk around in this world wearing a very cultured and decent face. Society expects us to wear good clothes, talk in civilized language, and follow the rules made by morality. We spend our entire life following these rules. But have you ever looked inside yourself? There's a corner inside us that wants to break all those boundaries that society has declared taboo, that is, forbidden. We feel like going into that dark room on whose door is written, "No entry." This is the oldest nature of a human being, that whenever a ban is put on something, the desire to taste it increases 10 times. And when someone holds our hand and takes us beyond that forbidden boundary, all our control ends. We completely become his slave in the intoxication of that thrill. This dangerous art is called stir up the transgressive and taboo. Transgression means breaking the rules. When you do some work together with someone that in the eyes of society is a little wrong, a little rebellious, or forbidden, a very deep and unbreakable connection is formed between you. This is called the magic of shared guilt. When both of you break some rule together, a secret is formed between both of you that you can't share with the rest of the world. This secret itself gives a new voltage to your relationship. The other person feels that the thrill that is in being with you, the feeling of being real, he can never get in his normal and decent life. If you want to use this thrilling and dark power in your life, understand its 3 biggest rules. First rule, the small transgressions, that is, small rebellion. You don't have to do any very big or illegal work right in the beginning. You have to start by breaking small rules. For example, climbing the wall of some closed park at midnight and going inside, trying to enter some show without a ticket, or sitting and smoking a cigarette at some place where it's forbidden. These small adventures increase the heartbeat of the other person. A storm of dopamine starts rising in his mind. He can never forget these moments spent with you, because you've added a thrill into his boring life. Second rule, crush the moral mask, that is, removing the moral mask. Every human being has some desire that he hides even from himself, because he feels society will consider him wrong. You have to bring this exact hidden aspect of his out. When he mentions some such buried fantasy or thought of his in front of you, never judge. Make him feel that in your world there are no rules. You're completely free. When he sees that in front of you he can place his real and dark side without any shame, he comes even closer to you. Third rule, the secret collaborator, that is, secret partner. Make your target feel that both of you are a team that's fighting against this boring and hypocritical world. This secret bond between both of you will become your biggest strength. When the entire world is on one side, and both of you are on one side, the level of attraction increases so much that the other person takes even the biggest decision of his life with great ease for you. To understand this extremely dark and powerful psychology, we need to look at a very big real-life example from today's entertainment industry and pop culture. We're talking about the most mysterious and exclusive underground clubs running in the city of Berlin in Germany, like the Berghain Club. Berghain isn't an ordinary disco or place for partying. It's considered the most infamous and hypnotic club in the world. The biggest USP of this club is taboo and transgression. The rules of going there are very strange and strict. No big celebrity or rich person can enter there by directly giving money. The bouncer there only lets those people inside who look very rebellious, strange, and beyond the rules of gender. After going inside the club, a sticker is stuck on the camera of your phone. Taking any photo or video inside is completely banned. In the world inside, no rule of society applies. People can dance there without clothes. They can openly fulfill their darkest desires, and no one judges anyone there. People stand in line for 6 hours in the freezing cold of Berlin to go inside this club, and 70% of them are rejected. What is this? This is the power of transgression that pulls people toward itself. Berghain has created such an atmosphere where people throw off the mask of their decent and boring social life, and celebrate their dark side. On the strength of this exact taboo, that club has today become one of the... Suppose there's a very quiet and cultured girl who's always followed every talk of her parents. Her life is very predictable and safe. When some such boy comes into her life who's very unconventional, who goes out on long drives at night without telling, who talks with his boldness even in front of big people, that girl becomes crazy about this rebellious energy of his. That boy takes her to those places where her family had always forbidden her from going. He makes her taste those things that were banned in her life. The girl feels she's breathing according to her own will for the first time. She can't even imagine living without that boy, because that boy has become another name of freedom for her. But this dangerous and dark strategy also carries very big risks. The biggest danger is that if you break two big boundaries, you can come into the eyes of the law. Transgression looks attractive only as long as it's like a game. The moment it turns into some big criminal activity or danger to someone's life, the other person gets scared. He can go to the police against you for his safety, or create distance from you forever. The second danger is that some people are very weak and traditional from the inside. If you place your dark side in front of them too quickly, they'll get scared. They'll start seeing you as a dirty, immoral, or crazy person, and will stop talking to you. That's why you have to break the boundaries only after recognizing the level of the other person's mind. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of dark and hypnotic boundary-breaking trap? Whenever someone comes into your life who provokes you to do such things that feel wrong to you from the inside, who tells you to go against your family or your moral values, immediately stop your steps. Remember that real freedom isn't in breaking boundaries, but in deciding your own boundaries yourself. When you remain firm on your morality and your limits, no one can mislead you with his rebellious style. The story of stirring up the transgressive teaches us that the human mind always runs toward that door which is closed. When you give people the courage to face their own buried desires, you get the key to their subconscious mind. Now you've pulled your victim outside the circles of society. He started breaking rules together with you, and a very deep secret bond has been formed between you. But to make the game even bigger, now you have to put his mind into one more big confusion. Now you don't have to give only physical pleasure. You have to take your attraction to a spiritual level. You have to make him feel that this connection of yours isn't only of this world, but it's the meeting of two souls. In the next chapter, we will decode the 19th and most magical step of seduction, the one that will completely hypnotize your victim. Are you ready to learn that art of spiritual seduction? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 29. Use spiritual lures. Only physical, spiritual lures doesn't mean you start doing worship or become a saint. It means giving your attraction a spiritual and sacred form. You have to make the other person feel that you're in his meeting isn't a coincidence, but it's the decision of destiny. In conversation you have to use such words and concepts that are directly connected to the soul, cosmic connection, and soulmates. When you cover your attraction with this kind of sacred curtain, all the logical defense of the other person breaks. He starts feeling that joining with you isn't a mistake. Rather, this is the will of God or the universe itself. If you want to bring this magical and spiritual strength into your personality, understand its three biggest rules. First rule, the language of destiny, that is, the game of fate. Whenever you're with your target, present small things like some big cosmic signal. If both of your birth months are the same, or you like the same strange things, with great surprise say, "This can't be a coincidence. I feel the universe is giving us some signal." Or use today's astrology, star science, and tarot readings. When you say that our zodiac signs tell that our connection is very deep, the other person starts believing in this net of yours with his own will. Second rule, demythologize the physical, that is, pushing physical desire back. In the beginning never show hurry to become physical. Keep your conversation very intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. Ask the other person questions connected to the deepest fears of his life, his dreams, and the soul. When you talk rising above physical desire, a very big respect is born in the other person's mind for you. He feels you're not running only after one thing like other people, but you truly love his soul. Third rule, create a sacred ambience, that is, a magical and quiet atmosphere. When you meet him, there should be a different peace in the atmosphere. Instead of places with too much noise, go to some quiet place. Use dim light, the fragrance of candles, and a quiet music. Deep talks done at such places directly hit the subconscious mind. The other person feels that in your presence he's getting a strange spiritual peace. To understand this deep psychology, we need to look at a real-life example of the biggest trend running on today's social media, that is, twin flame and manifestation culture. You've seen thousands of such influencers on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube who explain to young people that their true love isn't an ordinary human being, but he's the other part of their soul, that is, their twin flame. People have become so crazy behind this concept that they leave their good life and start running after some such partner who's continuously hurting them. They think that the pain between them, the fights, aren't actually any toxic behavior. Rather, this is the journey of their twin flame that's making them even stronger. Big cults and online groups are collecting crores of rupees of fees from people by selling this exact spiritual theory. They know that when people get some big purpose or spiritual angle in their boring life, they put all their understanding aside and become its slaves. In the business and corporate world too, this spiritual seduction plays a very big role. In today's time, the biggest and most successful brands of the world don't just sell products. They sell a spiritual lifestyle. Look at brands like Lululemon or Athleta. They don't just sell yoga pants or gym clothes. They create a quiet spiritual atmosphere in their stores. They sell the dream of yoga classes, mindfulness, and inner peace to their customers. People don't buy those clothes only for going to the gym, but they feel that by using those products they're feeling themselves more peaceful and spiritually aligned. They become ready to pay 4 times more price even for these ordinary clothes, because that brand is pleasing their spiritual ego. But this spiritual game also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that the entire game of spirituality rests on the purity of your character. If people even slightly find out that these spiritual talks of yours were only an act, and from the inside you're an extremely selfish, self-interested, or hungry for physical desire person, your entire magic will end in 1 second. People will start seeing you as a hypocrite and a fraud. The second danger is that this game doesn't work in front of people who are too practical, atheist, or of hard scientific thinking. They'll make fun of your talks of fate and the universe, and will start suspecting you. That's why you have to use this weapon only after looking at the thinking of your victim. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of spiritual hypnotism? Whenever someone comes into your life who, with very sweet words, tries to prove that your meeting was the will of God, or who starts hiding every mistake of his by giving the excuse of destiny, become alert immediately. Remember that destiny or the universe can never prove any wrong behavior of anyone right. Always keep your feet on the ground of reality. When you leave someone's spiritual claims and start looking at his hard actions, this spiritual magic of his completely breaks over you. The story of using spiritual lures teaches us that if you want to rule someone's heart and mind forever, make him your prisoner not only physically but also spiritually. When you convince people that your connection is far above this world, they spend their entire life making that fantasy of yours real. Now you've made your victim your slave spiritually too. In the next chapter, we will decode the 20th and most thrilling step of seduction, the one that will blow your victim's mind. Are you ready to understand that game of pain and pleasure? The next page of the mystery is about to open in front of you. Chapter 30. Mix pleasure with pain. Do you really feel that by always keeping someone happy, by giving him a lot of love and gifts, you can make him crazy about you? If you think like this, you're completely unaware of the biggest law of attraction. The human mind works in a very strange way. Whatever thing comes to us easily and without any pain, its value becomes zero for us. We never respect that thing for which we didn't have to long. The real feeling of pleasure only happens when a deep pain is given before it. If you always remain sweet, always remain available, you'll become boring very quickly. The most dangerous and intoxicating rule of the world of seduction is this. Mix pleasure with pain, that is, a game of pain and pleasure that makes the other person your addict. Behind this game of very deep neurological psychology works. When you continuously give attention and validation to someone, his dopamine level stops at one place. He no longer feels any thrill in that attraction. But when you suddenly give him pain, that is, you become cold, ignore him, or start some small fight, a deep fear and anxiety is born in his mind. His dopamine level falls rapidly. He becomes restless. He starts thinking what mistake he made. And then when he's at the peak of his pain, you suddenly come back and give him a lot of love and validation. This moment of relief creates such a volcano of dopamine in his mind that he feels an intoxicating pleasure. This process is called trauma bonding in the language of corporate and relationships. If you want to use this technique, understand its 3 strictest rules. First rule, the comfort phase. Always start with a lot of love, care, and attention. The other person should feel that he's the most special in your life. He should get used to being with you. Until his defense system completely becomes calm, you only have to give him pleasure. Second rule, the sudden coldness, that is, the sudden indifference. When you feel the other person has completely gotten used to this attention of yours, then play your second strike. Without any big fight, suddenly go a little distant. Reply to his messages very late. Talk very casually on the call, and show as if some big problem is going on in your life, or you're very busy in some other thing. This indifference will create a deep pain and insecurity in his heart. He'll start feeling your lack very badly. Third rule, the rescue and relief, that is, giving relief. When his pain and restlessness increase, when he starts asking you, please tell me what's the matter. Then with great innocence come back. Give him a lot of love. Hug him, and say that you were only a little troubled. This relief that comes after the pain will increase the voltage of your attraction 1,000 times. The other person will become an addict of this thrill. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a very brilliant real-life example from today's mobile gaming industry. Look at mobile games like PUBG, Free Fire, or games with loot boxes. These games never let you win every time. If you win every time, you'll get bored very quickly and leave the game. These games first let you clear some levels with great ease. They give you a lot of rewards, which gives you pleasure. Then suddenly they increase the difficulty level so much that you start losing again and again. A frustration and pain is born inside you. You can't bear that loss, and keep playing the game for hours to get your victory back. And when after losing many times you finally win a difficult level, the blast of happiness that happens in your mind makes you a lifetime addict of that game. This is called the variable reward system, which is a perfect business model of pleasure and pain. In modern relationships and the age of social media too, this game is played a lot. The streaks of Instagram and Snapchat run on this exact psychology. Suppose there's a boy who's very unpredictable with his partner. One day he'll call her the most beautiful girl in the world. He'll bring expensive surprises for her, and the very next day he'll completely disappear without any reason. He'll ignore her messages. He'll like the posts of other girls on social media. That girl will completely break from the inside. She'll cry, get troubled. And then suddenly on the third day that boy will be standing outside her house with flowers, and will say that he can't live without her. That girl will forget that pain, and will go crazy in the happiness of that relief. She knows that this relationship is toxic. Her friends advise her to leave. But she's gotten so used to that roller coaster ride of pain and pleasure that she can never leave that boy. But this extremely dangerous and dark strategy also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you increase the dose of pain too much, the other person will completely break. He can go into depression getting tired of this behavior of yours, or can break the relationship with you forever to save his self-respect. Every human being has a limit of tolerance. If he feels that only tears and pain come from being with you, he'll raise a big wall against you for his own safety. The second danger is that if you get caught, if the other person even slightly suspects that you're deliberately controlling him or playing a mind game, all his attraction will immediately turn into hatred. People hate manipulators. Ask yourself, am I longing for someone's validation? When you stop getting troubled by someone's indifference. When you calm yourself and say I don't care whether you talk to me or not, this entire game of the other person fails. Your indifference is the biggest cure of this dark hypnotism. The story of mixing pleasure with pain teaches us that the human heart never walks on a straight path. It likes ups and downs. When you awaken not only a sweet but also a little bitter taste in people, you gain complete control over their subconscious mind. Now you've raised such a storm of pain and pleasure in the other person's mind that he can't even imagine his life without you. He's completely bound in your net. But the thrill of the game is about to increase even more. Now the time has come to completely step back after bringing him under your control. Now you have to give him space so that he himself starts chasing you. In the next chapter, we will decode the 21st and most amazing step of seduction, where the hunter himself becomes the hunted. Are you ready to understand that biggest turning point? The next door of the mystery is about to open. Part 2. The seductive process. Phase 4. Moving in for the kill. Chapter 31. Give them space to fall. The pursuer is pursued. Have you ever noticed a cat? When you run after it, try to catch it, it runs away just as fast. No matter how much food you place in front of it, how much love you show, it'll keep staying away from you. But the moment you leave the attempt to catch it, sit quietly in your place, and stop looking toward it, that cat itself comes near you. It starts rubbing against your feet, and starts demanding your attention. The human mind works exactly the same way. When you run after someone like a mad person, the other person's ego becomes very big. He starts considering himself very precious. But the moment you step back, he himself starts chasing you. This master strategy is called give them space to fall. The pursuer is pursued. Reaching this last phase of seduction, many people make the biggest mistake. They think that when the victim is completely trapped in the net, they should become even more aggressive. They continuously message. They make pressure again and again to meet, and start openly expressing their feelings. This aggressiveness scares the other person. He starts feeling that his freedom is being snatched. At this delicate turning point of attraction, if you make too much pressure, the made game will get spoiled in 1 second. You have to step back at this time. You have to create such an empty space, a vacuum, that the other person himself comes forward to fill. When you leave chasing the victim, he himself becomes the hunter and starts running after you. If you want to master this art of reversing the role, understand its 3 most precise rules. First rule, the strategic withdrawal, that is, strategic stepping back. When you've completely made your target comfortable, made him used to you, suddenly pull your steps back. Stop starting messages from your side. When he asks you what's the matter, in a very normal and cold tone say that you're busy with some things in your life. This distance will create a deep fear in his mind. He'll start thinking, have you lost interest in him? To get that attention back, he'll himself come running to you. Second rule, let them take the initiative, that is, let them fail. Until now you've taken all the decisions yourself. You've decided the places of meetings. You've started the conversation. Now let the other person do all this. Let him make plans for you. Let him adjust himself according to your time. When he himself starts putting effort for you, his mind feels that he loves you a lot. A human being always considers that thing most precious for which he's put effort himself. Third rule, show hints of other options. That is, showing that you have other paths too. You don't have to directly take the name of some third person. But with great silence show that there are many people in your life who want your time. When your target feels that he can lose you, his ego becomes active. He doesn't want to share you with anyone else, and puts his entire strength to completely get you. To understand this powerful psychology, we need to look at a very big real-life example from today's social media and influencer marketing. We're talking about the premium brand Supreme. Supreme was a very small streetwear brand. But today its value is in billions of dollars. They use the give them space strategy very deeply. Supreme never does big advertising of its clothes. They never open their big shop in any mall. They launch the collection of their new clothes only a few times a year, which they call a drop. They share very few details about this drop. They never run after their customers. They deliberately make their things in very low quantity. What's the result? The moment the date of the drop is announced, millions of youth stand in line outside their store night after night. On the website the entire stock gets sold out in this is called making the pursuer the pursued. In modern relationships, in the age of online dating too, this game is played on a very large scale. Suppose there's a girl who always remained very active with her partner. She used to send him a good morning message every morning. She used to ask his condition throughout the day, and used to herself plan the meeting on the weekend. The boy had become very relaxed. He used to reply to her messages hours later, and never took the initiative to meet himself, because he knew the girl is always available for him. Then the girl understood this strategy. She suddenly stopped running after the boy. She stopped sending the morning messages. When the boy messaged in the afternoon, she gave a very short and casual reply. She didn't make any plan for meeting on the weekend, and when the boy asked, she said she's busy with her friends. A deep shock suddenly hit the boy's mind. He became restless. He felt the girl is slipping from his hands. He himself started calling the girl again and again. He himself planned the dates, and started longing for the girl's attention. The boy who was indifferent until yesterday, today himself was running after that girl. But this role reversal strategy also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if you step back too quickly, that is, when no deep feelings have been formed for you in the other person's mind yet, and you already disappear, he'll forget you. He'll think you're a very arrogant or rude person, and he'll move forward. This strategy only works when the other person has completely gotten used to your love and attention. The second danger is that people who are too insecure can't handle this quiet attitude of yours. They can think that you're cheating them, or you're rejecting them. They can go into depression, or in anger can break the relationship with you forever. That's why even after stepping back you have to keep a small flame of hope burning in a very soft way. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of cycle? Whenever you feel someone who was very close to you until yesterday is suddenly going very far. Whenever he starts replying to your messages late and starts ignoring you, immediately stop running after him. Remind yourself that this is a power game. When you also become completely quiet, become busy in your life, and stop running after him, this game of his completely fails. He himself falls into confusion, and is forced to come back to you. The story of giving them space teaches this heavy gaze creates a strange sweet tension in the other person's mind, which he wants to come even closer to you to end. Second rule, the accidental touch, that is, the magic of the unknown touch. Physical touch should never be forced or aggressive. It should be so light and natural that the other person feels it was just a coincidence. For example, while laughing, very casually touching his shoulder or hand for 1 second, or while walking in a crowd coming very close to him. This small and velvet touch directly sends an electric signal to his subconscious mind. His heart starts beating fast, and he starts longing to feel this physical closeness even more. Third rule, the slow and deep voice mode, that is, the depth of the voice. When you're using physical lures, make the tone of your voice very slow, quiet, and deep. Stop talking by shouting very loudly or becoming excited. When you talk in a very quiet and whispering tone, the other person himself has to come very close to you to listen to your talk. This depth of your voice directly breaks his sensory barriers. To understand this hypnotic psychology, we need to look at a big real-life example from today's luxury perfume industry and their advertisements. You've seen that big brands like Chanel, Dior, or Tom Ford never count the features of the perfume bottle or the ingredients of its fragrance in their advertisements. They create a visual and sensory illusion. Look at the advertisement of Dior Sauvage in which Johnny Depp is shown. In that advertisement there's no big story. Johnny Depp is shown in a deserted desert in a very indifferent, rough, and tough look. He's very quiet. There's amazing confidence in his body language, and he's radiating a very deep and magical physical energy from his eyes. He doesn't say anything. He just takes off his jacket and drives the car. This advertisement doesn't talk to your logical mind. It directly hits your sensory fantasy. Young people feel that after applying that perfume they'll also become the owners of the same kind of rough, tough, and hypnotic physical presence. On the strength of this exact sensory marketing, those brands collect thousands of rupees for a small bottle. This is the business power of physical lures that rules people's hearts without speaking a single word. In modern relationships, in the age of dating too, this game is played in a very cunning way. The most charming people on social media never trust chatting too much. They know that the talks done on chat become boring very quickly. They plan meeting face-to-face as soon as possible. When they meet, their entire focus is on their physical presence. They come prepared in a very perfect way. Their fragrance is so amazing that the other person gets lost in their charm the moment they meet. They sit very relaxed during conversation. They never let their body become tight or nervous. While talking, in a very soft way, they create a very light physical touch on the pretext of fixing the other person's hair or looking at his hand. This touch blocks all the thoughts of the other person's mind. He starts feeling only the intoxication of that moment. He forgets all his old boundaries and flows in the flow of that physical attraction. But this extremely powerful and hypnotic strategy also carries very big dangers. The biggest danger is that if your physical touch or your body language becomes too aggressive or vulgar, the game will completely get destroyed. Today's generation is very aware about this. If the other person even slightly feels that you're too desperate, or you're trying to come close to him by force, he'll get scared. He'll start seeing you as a cheap and low person. He can shout at you. He can slap you, or can close your chapter forever. The magic of physical lures only works when it's very invisible and graceful. The second danger is that if you only trust physical attraction, and you have no deep talk to do, this charm of yours will end very quickly. The intoxication of physical attraction is very fast. But it also comes down just as fast. The moment that intoxication comes down, the other person will start feeling emptiness in being with you. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of sensory and physical hypnotism trap? Whenever you find yourself completely getting lost in someone's presence, whenever you feel someone's fragrance, his voice, or his touch is numbing your mind, immediately get up from there and go outside. Wash your face with cold water, and take a deep breath. Remind yourself that this is only a game of hormones. When you go away from that person's physical presence and switch your logical mind back, now you have completely broken the other person's sensory barriers. They are completely drowning in this physical and emotional intoxication of yours. Their control over themselves has ended. Now the climax of the game has come, where you should not show any hesitation. Now you have to play your biggest and most courageous move. You have to take such a bold move that will end this entire game forever. In the next chapter, we will decode the 23rd and most thrilling step of seduction. The one that will completely make your victim yours. Are you ready to take that final big step? The final turn of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 33, Master the Art of the Bold Move. What is the biggest weakness in this world? That weakness is hesitation. When you are afraid before doing something, when you think, what will the other person think? When you keep looking back again and again before taking your steps, you make your weakness public. In this game of attraction, a delicate time comes where all strategies, all mind games, and all suspense have completed their work. Your victim is completely ready. They are trapped in this velvet net of yours. All their defensive systems have fallen. Now they are only waiting for one final push. And at this exact turning point, most people fail. They get scared. They think they might look too aggressive. But a true master knows that this is not the time to think. This is the time to play your biggest and most courageous move. This ultimate step is called Master the Art of the Bold Move. When you reach this final stage of seduction, the tension is at its peak. This tension cannot remain like this forever. Either this tension will turn into a beautiful climax, or it will completely cool down. If you show hesitation here, the other person's mind will become active again. Their logical barrier will rise again, and they will understand this entire game of yours. Showing hesitation is the biggest murder in the world of seduction. You have to come like a storm, where the other person does not even get a chance to think. When you move forward with full strength and confidence, this boldness of yours burns even their remaining doubts into ashes. They feel that in front of this aggressive step of yours, they have no other option except surrender. If you want to master this courageous and decisive step, understand these 3 core rules. First rule, read the signals of surrender. A bold move is never taken without preparation. You first have to make sure that the other person is completely ready for it. There should be a strange longing for you in their eyes. There should be an impatience for you in their conversation, and their body language should be very close to you. When you start getting these signals, understand that the fruit is ripe, and now is the right time to pluck it from the tree. Second rule, no half measures. When you take a bold move, there should be no hesitation or fear in it. If you are proposing to someone, or taking some big decision, do it with full strength and certainty. Even a little doubt in your eyes will scare the other person. Your boldness should be so strong that it completely overwhelms the other person's mind. They should feel that this is not an ordinary human, but a force that cannot be stopped. Third rule, relieve them of guilt. Human beings always live under the pressure of society's rules and morality. They want to look like a good person. When you take a bold move, you very cleverly remove the burden of taking that decision from the other person's shoulders. They can reassure themselves, what could I do? That person's energy was so strong that I could not stop myself. You become an excuse for them. You take the entire blame on yourself, so that they get carried away in your net without it. We are talking about the bold move of his hostile takeover of Twitter in the year 2022. The board of Twitter did not want to sell the company to Elon Musk. They were preparing to go to court against him, and were continuously creating pressure on him. Elon Musk did not choose any slow negotiation or conversation path here. He played a very bold move. He suddenly placed in front of Twitter's board an offer of $44 billion, which was much higher than the real price of their shares. He clearly said, This is my best and final offer. If you don't accept it, I will sell all my shares and exit, and your company will get completely destroyed." This sudden and big blow scared the entire board of Twitter. They did not even get time to think or make any other strategy. Elon Musk's one bold move broke all their defenses, and forced them to kneel. This is called the ultimate bold move of the business world, where you don't even give the other person a chance to negotiate. In modern relationships and youth dating, this game is also played in a very thrilling way. Suppose there is a boy who has been hanging out with a girl for a long time. They have gone through the game of mixed signals. A very deep emotional and physical attraction has formed between them. But the girl, out of fear of society or some old insecurity of hers, is not able to take any final decision. She is afraid of giving the relationship a name. Here that boy does not ask any childish question like, "Do you like me?" or "Can we come into a relationship?" He plays a bold move. He goes directly to the girl on the weekend, holds her hand, and says, "I have booked a table for us tonight at the..." There is amazing confidence and certainty in his voice. The girl doesn't have to take any decision in her mind. All her guilt and fear end. She happily surrenders in front of this bold step of that boy. She becomes crazy about this self-confidence of his, because he has freed her from the trouble of thinking. But this extremely aggressive and courageous step also carries serious dangers. The biggest risk is that if you play this bold move too early, that is, when the other person was not ready for it at all, and you already made the big strike, you will look like a criminal, or rude person, or someone extremely desperate. The other person will get scared, and can take strict action against you for their own safety. The entire success of a bold move rests on its correct timing. The second danger is that if your bold move fails, if you took a big step and the other person rejected you directly, your entire image will get erased in 1 second. You will never be able to come back to that position again. That is why the risk in this game is very high. So how do you protect yourself from this kind of dangerous and aggressive attack? Whenever someone enters your life and starts creating too much pressure on you, whenever they force you to take a very big decision without giving you time to think, immediately pull your steps back. Tell them clearly, "I need time to think." When you don't react immediately to a bold move, and take your own time, the other person's entire momentum breaks. Their aggressive game fails, and you come back under your full control. The story of mastering the art of the bold move teaches us that the greatest power in the world is never in thinking and calculating, but in action. When you move forward with full strength without any fear, the crowd itself leaves the path for you. Now you have learned how to make your final strike on the other person. They have completely surrendered in front of this bold step of yours. The game of seduction has now reached its final destination. But the story does not end here. The real test begins after this. When you completely win someone, maintaining that attraction becomes the most difficult job in the world. In the next chapter, we will decode the very last and biggest lesson of seduction. The one that will give you the mastery to keep this power forever. Are you ready to understand that greatest warning? The final door of the mystery is about to open. Chapter 34, Beware the After Effects. The more glorious the victory, the more dangerous the silence that comes after it. When you win your victim with your full strength, planning, and magical strategies, you feel the game is over. Now you can take a breath of relief. But the truth is that the real danger starts right here. When attraction reaches its peak, when the victim completely kneels in front of you, the path to fall from that high point is very short and direct. The moment the intoxication of victory fades, reality starts showing its face. This delicate and most overlooked turning point is called beware the after effects. That is, remaining careful of the storms that come after the victory. The entire existence of attraction rests on distance, mystery, and incompleteness. When you completely win someone, that distance ends. Now you have no secret left to hide. Your victim understands all your patterns. They become aware of your weaknesses. From here, two big things are born: satisfaction and boredom. Satisfaction is the death of attraction. When the other person becomes completely satisfied, That dopamine loop in their mind that was making them run after you shuts down. They start seeing you as a very ordinary human being. And the moment the magic ends, their mind starts working again. They start feeling guilt that they had broken their boundaries for you. If you want to handle this final stage, you have only two paths. Either you have to recreate this attraction from a new beginning, or you have to end this game forever with great grace. Understand the three biggest rules of both these paths carefully. First rule, prevent familiarity. If you want to stay with that person for a long time, never open yourself completely in front of them. Always keep some parts of your life private. Your thoughts, your next plans, and your dreams should not come completely in front of them. As long as a little mystery remains inside you, they will keep running after you. Second rule, crash the peace. If you feel that your partner is taking your love lightly, and boredom is coming, suddenly create a big drama or a small fight. Awaken this fear inside them that they might lose you. This pain and insecurity will activate their mind again. They will again start making efforts to make you happy. We are talking about the French electronic music duo Daft Punk. Daft Punk were known not only for their excellent songs, but also for their magical image. They ruled the music industry for 28 years. Their biggest secret was avoiding the after effects. They never came in front of the public without robotic helmets. No one ever saw their real faces. They used to do big concerts. They used to launch big albums. And after that, they would suddenly disappear for many years. People used to keep thinking about them. They used to long for even one glimpse of them. When they were at the peak of their popularity, when the world wanted more of their albums. In the year 2021, they suddenly announced through a very mysterious video called Epilogue that they were ending their band forever. They did not give any big explanation. They did not tell any big reason. They just separated in one stroke. This clean break of theirs was a huge shock for music lovers all over the world. But because of this exact decision, they became a legend forever. They never let their image become old or faded. In modern relationships and youth culture, this game is also seen on a large scale. In this age of social media, people very quickly become victims of ghosting. Ghosting is nothing but a very digital and cruel form of the clean break. Suppose there is a partner who spent several months with you in a very magical way. They gave you mixed signals. They did big things for you, and completely made you their slave. But the moment they felt that their purpose was complete, or that they had become bored of you, they did not start fighting with you. They suddenly disappeared completely from your life one day. They blocked you everywhere. They stopped answering your calls. You kept longing, you kept crying, but they gave no closure. This cold and sudden decision of theirs puts you into a deep shock. You spend your entire life only searching for the answer to this question: what mistake did I actually make? That manipulator knew that if they left after fighting with you, you would hate them. But this mysterious distance made you a prisoner of their thoughts forever. But this game of after effects also carries serious dangers. The biggest risk is that if you leave someone after hurting them very badly, the love inside them can turn into a very big hatred. A hurt and betrayed person can go to any length to destroy your social image, to damage your job or your career. They can leak all your secrets in front of the world. The second danger is that if you keep winning people and then leaving them, you yourself become very lonely and hollow from the inside. No real emotion or connection remains in your own life. You become just like a robot that only knows how to hunt, but has forgotten how to live that victory. So how do you protect yourself from these dangerous and dark after effects? Whenever you feel that the magic of some relationship is suddenly ending, or that someone whom you had considered your messiah is suddenly becoming cold and indifferent, keep your self-respect above everything. Stop running after them and begging. Don't ask for closure as alms. When you accept this quiet behavior of theirs with great grace, and move forward in your own life, their entire power game fails. You make them feel that their leaving has not created any lack in your life. This final story of the Art of Seduction teaches us that winning someone is only half the game. The real skill lies in how you handle yourself after that victory. When you learn to use distance and mystery correctly, your charm never fades. Here the journey of this entire book ends. You have seen the deepest, most buried, and darkest psychology of human beings from very close. Now you have the perspective with which you can easily see the moves of every manipulator hidden in the crowd. Now you know that there is no magic behind attraction. Rather, there is a very deep and carefully planned strategy. Use this knowledge to protect yourself. Use it to understand the minds of others. When you fit this map of human nature into your mind, no one in this world can make you their slave. You become the master of your own decisions, your own emotions, and your own life. Always keep this secret carefully in your heart. Because real power always belongs to the one who sees and understands everything in silence.